Send 800 back. Then there will only be 3,000 people left here in Longyu. Seeing Qiu Peng's confusion, Xia Chuan slightly shook his head. That's enough. Long Mountain and Jieyang won't attack in the short term. Even if they fully commit to attacking, whether these 800 are here or not doesn't really matter. Xia Chuan took out a map of Longyu, examined it for a moment, then continued. The beehive is located in the southeast corner of Longyu, with Hankyang to the north, Wushuang to the northwest, and Yanglu to the west, which is currently a dead land due to the previous dewdrop plague incident. I suspect no one would dare go there, so it serves as a natural barrier. We don't need to station troops in the beehive. We can focus all 3,000 people on guarding positions at Wushuang and Hankyang. Both Wushuang and Hankyang have branches of Long Mountain running through them. In times of peace, these people can be organized to hunt in the mountains, and the hunted animals can be transported back to Xia City through the beehive to solve the beast meat shortage there. Xia Chuan and Qiu Peng, with their eyes set on the current predicament of Great Xia, kept actively pondering and discussing ways to improve. As they walked and talked, they unknowingly reached the top-floor hall of the main building. As they were about to finalize their decision, Qiu Peng was ready to leave and head back to Xia City, but when he looked up, he found Xia Hong sitting at the top of the hall. Greetings later. Xia Chuan didn't expect Xia Hong, who had said he would go into seclusion for cultivation just this morning, to come out so quickly and immediately bowed in salute. Now you find out the manpower is insufficient, right? Xia Hong looked at the two of them, a slight smile on his face. He had heard most of their discussions just now, and he was, of course, pleased that they spotted the biggest challenge faced by Great Xia so promptly. Upon hearing Xia Hong's teasing, the two lowered their heads slightly, showing a trace of awkwardness. It's not too big a problem. Xia Chuan is correct. Long Mountain and Jieyang won't attack in the short term. There's plenty of time for you to resolve the shortage of beast meat and the lack of manpower in the earth-digging realm. Xia Chuan realized that everything he had just said had been heard by Xia Hong, so he promptly said, "Leader, do you think my idea is feasible?" "Of course it's feasible. I even think 800 is a bit too few. With this round of population growth, Great Xia's total population will exceed 100,000. The daily beast meat required by 100,000 people is massive, which can't be met by only 1,000 or so hunters in the earth-digging realm. Let's do this. Send another 1,000 back, leaving 2,000 in Longyu, sufficient." Seeing Xia Hong issue an order directly, although Xia Chuan and Qiu Peng looked hesitant, they still nodded without objection. Have Hong Guang, Hong Tian, Zhao Hu, and Zhao Bao lead 1,000 earth-digging realm hunters to guard Gourd Valley, while the rest, and another 1,000 earth-digging realm, will stay here at Wushuang. We also need to send people to inventory all the iron mines, coal mines, and various other special resources within Hankyang, Wushuang, and Beehive territories, along with all supplies stored in their camps. Except for the portion needed, the rest can be gradually moved back to Xia City. Enhancing camp strength isn't solely about cultivation. Other aspects matter as well. Enhancing camp strength isn't solely about cultivation. Other aspects matter as well. Repeating Xia Hong's words in their minds, Xia Chuan and Qiu Peng were suddenly jolted. As if enlightened, their eyes brightened instantly. Exactly. The number of people in the earth-digging realm is undoubtedly the foundation for camp strength, but other aspects are also crucial, like weapons, armor, infrastructure, and even morale. Leader, I understand. Leader, Minister, I'll go back to Xia City right now. Qiu Peng's quick comprehension was apparent. He eagerly bid farewell to the two. After Xia Hong nodded, he promptly turned and left the hall, heading to Xia City. After you advance to the cold resistance level, how strong are you? As soon as Qiu Peng left, Xia Hong asked Xia Chuan. 6 manes. Has it not increased much, I assume? Xia Chuan was momentarily stunned, then nodded. Intermediate beast meat has very little effect on me now, and the boost from sunlight during the day is quite small, so there really hasn't been much change. After answering, he saw Xia Hong smiling as he took out a wooden box, and Xia Chuan faintly guessed something, his expression immediately showing excitement. Xia Hong opened the wooden box. Inside were 30 drops of cold apple jade dew, obtained after he killed Wuxiang, who was controlled by the deceitful monster. I've got the formula for boiling jade bone, and the herbs gathered from Wu Shuang and Han Qiang are completely sufficient. You prepare some coal stone and other herbs, and try boiling jade bone here in Wushuang, so you can experience how the cold resistance level is cultivated. Okay, elder brother, but... Xia Chuan spoke excitedly, but quickly realized something, frowned, and continued. Elder brother, but we don't have jade bone on hand. Jade bone refers to the bones of advanced cold beasts. Xia Hong had been dealing with various camps in Longyu all this time, so he certainly hadn't had the chance to hunt advanced cold beasts, nor had the others. Just prepare it, and soon someone will bring it to us. Upon hearing his words, Xia Chuan thought of something, and the initially furrowed brows immediately relaxed. A smile gradually emerged on his face, and he turned to leave, starting to make arrangements. Chapter 594, Chapter 254, Alchemy, Special Envoy, and the Partition of Longyu. The cultivation method at the cold resistance level is absolutely extremely harsh. As for the jade bone, there's no need to mention it. Xia Hong had already experienced the power of advanced cold beasts in Jing Valley once. It can be said that if it weren't for his perfect reshaping skin, having the power of 9 manes right when he broke through to the cold resistance level, he probably wouldn't have survived if he were just a slightly more ordinary cold resistance level cultivator. Jade bone is the main material, and its high acquisition difficulty can be said to be understandable. The key is that the other dozen herbs in the formula are astonishingly difficult to obtain as well. Zhu Yinhua, usually found in 2 places, near a silver mine or in areas where a group of rodent-like cold beasts reside. These rodent-like cold beasts have silver fur and long meat-colored tails, excellent at digging, and extremely fast. White frost grass is not hard to find, but it generally grows near water sources. As for the cold apple jade dew, the ongoing open and secret struggles in Longyu for nearly 50 years can largely be attributed to the cold apple tree discovered by Hu Hu's father, which shows the preciousness of this item. Aside from these 3 most precious herbs, red sun fruit, cold beard grass, double-colored liquid spirit fruit, pangxiang leaf, jade spirit grass, isol liquid, yin-yang flower, linglong fruit, none of the remaining 8 herbs come easy. Either they grow in extremely harsh environments, or harvesting them is particularly difficult. It's no wonder that in Longyu, the cold resistance level is the peak battle strength. Gathering enough of these herbs is not an easy task. Xia Hong stood in the hall, looking down at the dazzling array of herbs on the table, and couldn't help but let out a sigh. It's thanks to the great Xia capturing the camps of Wushuang, Hankyang, and Beehive in succession, and coincidentally slaying Wuxing to get 30 drops of cold apple jade dew. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to gather these 11 herbs so quickly. These herbs are only enough to make 25 pounds of jade bone, and yet Wuxing and Han Jiulai were so impoverished. In boiling jade bone, all kinds of herbs have their proportions. Among the 4 most precious main herbs, jade bone, cold apple jade dew, Zhu Yinhua, and white frost grass, the proportions are 3 pounds, 1 drop, 3 stalks, and 3 stalks respectively. Xia Hong slightly shook his head. The comment on poverty was just a tease. Wuxing and Han Jiulai had both reached the late stage of the cold resistance level, so they surely used lots of jade bone medicine. The surplus herbs likely resulted from insufficient cold apple jade dew and jade bone. Hu Hu's 20 pounds of jade bone, with the extra 5 pounds, can come in handy now. First, match up these 5 pounds for Xia Chuan and the others. Collect all remaining herbs and take them back to Xia City. We'll have them identified at the alchemy workshop before deciding what to do next. Since it's a formula, it can definitely be identified by the alchemy workshop, and these 11 precious herbs might even be combined with other things to create new Dan medicine formulas. We can't just use them foolishly here. Xia Hong sorted the herbs on the ground by category, leaving out 5 pounds worth of jade bone, and then spoke to the door. "Come in." A middle-aged man had been waiting outside the hall for a long time. Upon hearing Xia Hong's voice, he immediately walked in slowly, respectfully bowing to the leader. Liu Xian pays respects to the leader. Xia Hong looked down at the middle-aged man and smiled. "I asked you to come over from Beehive to help me with alchemy. Look at these herbs in front of you. Are they enough?" Liu Xian nodded respectfully and then walked to the table, carefully inspecting the 11 herbs laid before him. Liu Xian was unaware that this was Xia Hong's 2nd time seeing him. When Xia Hong had previously infiltrated the Beehive alchemy room, he saw Liu Xian once and had a good impression of this pharmacist from Beehive camp. This time, with no suitable candidate in Wushuang for boiling jade bone, he had Liu Xian brought over. "Leader, these are completely enough, but I need 20 earth-digging realm personnel, plus 350,000 pounds of coal stone. It should be done in about one night, and the medicine should be ready by dawn. Pound of jade bone requires 70,000 pounds of coal stone to boil. When eavesdropping at Beehive, Xia Hong already knew that boiling jade bone consumed a lot of coal stone, but hearing it directly still made him click his tongue. 350,000 pounds of coal stone is approximately an annual consumption for a medium-sized camp. Fortunately, the camp is not lacking coal now, especially after taking down the 3 camps in Longyu. The Great Xia would likely be in a surplus of both coal and iron for a long time. I've prepared all the personnel for you. Coal stone will be sent over soon. Take all the herbs and start boiling. Notify me once it's done. Thank you for your trust, leader. I'll start right away. Liu Xian agreed with cupped hands, then stepped forward to carefully collect the herbs, turning to leave with a hint of excitement. This is likely a medicine fanatic. Seeing Liu Xian's reaction, Xia Hong wasn't surprised. He had noticed earlier when peeking at Beehive that Liu Xian's way of looking at herbs was distinctly different from others. Previously, to maintain secrecy, Chen Yingyuan never entrusted the 3 great medicines to anyone else. He always added them personally. Today, handing over all herbs to Liu Xian, it's reasonable for him to feel excited. He is likely a talent hindered by the confined environment of Beehive. In the future, I can arrange for him to be under Mu Dong, letting him work at the alchemy workshop to see if he can bring any unexpected surprises. Xia Hong packed up all remaining herbs, just stood up, and suddenly lifted his head to look towards the north, a glimmer in his eyes. They've arrived, and quite quickly at that. After a moment of thought, Xia Hong sat back down in his seat, calmly watching the door, and quietly waited. Chapter 595, Chapter 254, Alchemy Special Envoys Longyu 3-Way Part 2. Soon, Xia Chuan's voice came from outside the hall. Leader, the special envoys from Zhejiang and Long Mountain request to see you. Bring them in. Xia Hong spoke softly, smiling as he saw the 2 familiar faces behind Xia Chuan. However, he remained silent, simply observing the 2 individuals. Special Envoy Li Xuandu from Long Mountain pays respects to Leader Xia Hong. Special Envoy Hu Quan from Zhejiang pays respects to Leader Xia Hong. It was evident that, although the 2 had a respectful demeanor, there was a noticeable discomfort on their faces, which made Xia Hong smile. Understandably, since not long ago they conspired to eliminate him in Gourd Valley, yet now they had to come begging. An overly natural expression would have been inappropriate. But the degree of discomfort varied between them. Compared to Li Xuandu, who had personally attacked him, Hu Quan's discomfort was much milder. Although the conspiracy was a joint effort, the action was taken by Long Mountain, and Zhejiang's people at most stood aside indifferent to the situation, plus Hu Quan wasn't directly involved. Xia Hong poured himself a cup of cold blood wine, took a small sip, then gestured for them to stand up before slowly asking, "You're not strangers, stand up. What urgent matter brings you here so hastily?" Upon hearing this, urgency appeared on their faces. Hu Quan couldn't hold back and quickly said, "Great Xia saved over 800 people from our camp. Zhejiang is endlessly grateful. Our leader has specially sent me to express gratitude to Leader Xia Hong and to present 5 pounds of jade bone. Please, Leader Xia Hong, do not disdain it." While speaking, he retrieved 2 pieces of blue jade bone from his coat, clearly from advanced cold beasts, and handed them to Xia Chuan in front. On the other side, Li Xuandu could no longer hold back. More direct than Hu Quan, he first took out 3 complete pieces of jade bone from his coat and then said solemnly, "Leader Xia Hong bears no grudges and saved over 800 people from Long Mountain. Upon learning of this, our leader expressed endless gratitude and sent me to express thanks, along with 10 pounds of jade bone. Please accept them." Xia Chuan smiled as he collected the 15 pounds of jade bone and placed them before Xia Hong, maintaining his smile all the way back to his seat. Releasing those 1,600 people was a matter of the first half of the night, and now the rewards were arriving. Crucially, these 15 pounds of jade bone were just the beginning. Long Mountain has a leader now. Xia Hong, not privy to Xia Chuan's thoughts, curiously asked upon hearing Li Xuandu's words. Li Tianhua is absent, so currently Long Mountain shouldn't have a leader. Is it Li Tiancheng? My 4th sister Li Xuanling has just assumed the position of leader. Xia Hong nodded slightly. Li Xuanxiang had already perished at Yanglu. Compared to Grand Prince Li Xuanyan or Li Xuandu here, Li Xuanling was the best choice in terms of both capability and wisdom. Li Tiancheng made a sensible decision. Supposedly, both of your families wanted to kill me, yet despite that, I saved those 1,600 people last night. Under normal circumstances, I shouldn't have rescued them, but considering that Great Xia shares the same struggle to survive in Longyu as your families do, I couldn't bear to see kindred slaughtered through deceitful monsters. Thus, ultimately, I intervened. This jade bone signifies your gratitude, and I won't refuse. There's no reason to reject a gift that comes to your doorstep. Zhejiang offers £5, but Long Mountain gives £10, clearly indicating not only gratitude for saving those 800 people, but also an apology for last night's conspiracy. Certainly, accepting the jade bone was only the first step. Seeing Xia Hong accept the jade bone, Li Xuandu's expression visibly relaxed, realizing Xia Hong was open to discussing the next matters. Hu Quan didn't have such patience. He immediately continued. According to those who returned to Zhejiang, it's said that Great Xia possesses a magical substance called solidified fire oil, which can cure the dew poison plaguing those people. Leader Xia Hong, bound by kinship, surely wouldn't watch Zhejiang's people perish. We humbly ask Leader Xia Hong to gift us some, and Zhejiang would be endlessly grateful. Upon hearing Hu Quan's flattery, Xia Hong showed a peculiar smile. To be truthful, Leader Xia Hong, I am also here on behalf of solidified fire oil. Unlike Zhejiang's high expectations, Long Mountain has no grand illusions. With those people already released, it's clear you have an agenda, Leader Xia. As long as you are willing to sell us some solidified fire oil, whatever Long Mountain possesses will be yours. Compared to Hu Quan, Li Xuandu was much more straightforward, not only revealing Xia Hong's intentions behind releasing those 1,600 people, but also proposing a trade. This made things much simpler. Even Hu Quan felt a bit embarrassed after hearing this and quickly added, Zhejiang shares the same wish, merely hoping Great Xia can sell us a portion. Upon hearing both requests, which only sought a portion of solidified fire oil, Xia Hong couldn't help but sigh inwardly. Those 1,600 individuals surely brought back news of the solidified fire oil. In essence, Li Xuanling and Hu both identified its importance upon learning about solidified fire oil, concluded it must be limited in Great Xia. The issue is, Great Xia has plenty of solidified fire oil, more than just plenty. Moreover, the production material for solidified fire oil is merely wood, indicating that, with a constant supply of wood, solidified fire oil can be produced endlessly. Despite such low production cost, it can be used against the most threatening and bizarre creatures in the ice abyss world. Chapter 596, Chapter 254, Alchemy Special Envoy Longyu. Solidified fire oil, truly a miraculous substance. It's not just any ordinary miraculous substance. Xia Hong realized the value of solidified fire oil earlier, but it was only at this moment that he truly understood how precious it is. Could almost foresee that solidified fire oil would have a major impact on Great Xia's foreign trade in the future. Xia Hong temporarily suppressed the excitement in his heart, then looked at the two people below, smiled, and said, "To be honest, just selling a portion to both families is not much of a hardship for Great Xia. But the problem is that the hostility you both have towards Great Xia is too strong. Now that I've saved you, if later you too attack Great Xia, wouldn't I be aiding the enemy? Truth be told, I somewhat regret saving those 1,600 people last night. If these people enter the battlefield in the future and kill our camp's people, I will become a sinner of Great Xia." Li Xuandu and Hu Quan should have been briefed before coming, as there wasn't the slightest surprise on their faces when they heard Xia Hong's words. They only lowered their heads in contemplation for a moment, before quickly taking out a document from their bodies. "Xia Hong, rest assured. From today on, the forces of Wushuang Beehive and Hankyang, formerly under 3 camp territories, are now all ceded to Great Xia. We at Long Mountain are willing to sign a neighborly treaty with Great Xia, henceforth becoming allied nations that do not infringe upon each other. This document is personally written by our leader, and as long as Xia Hong agrees to sign, Great Xia will become a member of Longyu, and we at Long Mountain will have no objections. Zhejiang is the same. We equally recognize Great Xia as a member of Longyu and are willing to sign a neighborly treaty. This is personally ordained by our leader, and we ask Xia Hong to review it." Xia Chuan took the documents from the two of them, glanced briefly, and immediately placed both documents onto Xia Hong's desk. Looking at the 2 documents on the table, Xia Hong's eyes finally revealed a glimmer of satisfaction as he finished reading the contents of the documents. He then raised his head to look at Li Xuandu and Hu Quan, his face instantly much more pleased. He had been waiting for these two documents. Of course, the documents were just formalities. What he truly cared about was Li Xuanling and Hu, or rather, Long Mountain and Jieyang's official acceptance of Great Xia entering Longyu. From the moment Li Xuanling and Hu's documents were presented on his desk, the three-way power struggle in Longyu was thoroughly established. The future disputes will certainly persist, but as of now, it marks a strategic victory for Great Xia. In his excitement, Xia Hong waved his hand. All right, since both leaders are so magnanimous, I will not say much more. Xia Chuan, take the two special envoys down to discuss the specific details of the solidified fire oil trade. I will no longer intervene, you handle it. Yes, leader. Xia Hong bowed with extreme enthusiasm. He was about to turn to call the two people below, but unexpectedly, they were even more anxious and spoke first. Lord Xia Chuan, please hurry. Our people at the posts are all waiting for solidified fire oil to save their lives. The longer it is delayed, the more people will die. We implore Lord Xia Chuan to hasten the process. Certainly, no need to hide from you both. This solidified fire oil is extremely precious in Great Xia. If not for the trouble caused by the deceitful monster, we would not randomly take it out for other people's use. Since both families are in such urgency, let's quickly head to the side hall to agree on the price and swiftly bring it back to save lives. Xia Chuan led the two quickly to the side hall, unable to suppress a smile on his face as he evidently thought about how to fleece both families. Chapter 597, Chapter 255, Frenzied Fortune-Making, Dangerous Thoughts, Perfect Timing. The discussion on the details of the solidified fire oil trade did not last long. It ended in just over an hour. We're going to be rich at last. This time all problems are solved. When Xia Chuan came to the alchemy room to find Xia Hong, he was extremely excited, his face never ceasing to wear a smile, showing the immense impact this negotiation had on him. Seeming to have thought of something, his expression froze, and a trace of regret appeared in his eyes, muttering, No, that was foolish. I should have quoted a higher price. They're all waiting for solidified fire oil to save their lives. If I raised it a bit more, they probably would have agreed. So foolish. Tell me, how did you profit? Xia Hong glanced at the jade bone in the iron pot, estimating it would take another 5 or 6 hours to be ready. So he led Xia Chuan back to the hall and smilingly asked about the negotiation outcome. Xia Chuan rubbed his hands excitedly and said, I told them that Great Xia currently has only 5,000 blocks of solidified fire oil in stock. We have to keep some for ourselves. We can sell at most 2,000 blocks. They probably didn't believe me, but even if they didn't, there's nothing they could do. They had to let me name the price. Only 5,000 blocks in total, daring to say that. Xia Hong's expression was extremely peculiar. From what he had previously learned from Qiu Peng, Great Xia had over 90,000 blocks of solidified fire oil in stock, and this time they brought 50,000 blocks to Longyu, leaving 20,000 at the Beehive, with 30,000 at Wushuang's side. Last night, rescuing those 16,000 plus people, each used about a pound, and each block of solidified fire oil weighs 5 pounds, so by calculation, at most 2,200 blocks were used, which means Wushuang has at least 27,800 blocks remaining. Coal stone, iron ore, silver, gold, jade bone, cold beast meat, and the 12 herbs that elder brother mentioned for boiling jade bone, as well as the special resources from Long Mountain and Jieyang that they showed me. I set a price for each category. They had no objections throughout. Now thinking back, I feel regret. They were all eager to go back to save people, afraid we wouldn't sell. How dare they haggle with us? I should have set the prices even higher. What exactly were your quotes? Tell me. Seeing Xia Chuan's regretful face, Xia Hong thought he had really set the prices too low, so he curiously asked. But as Xia Chuan listed the prices, Xia Hong's thoughts instantly changed, and the more he listened, the more shocked he became. Each family took 1,000 blocks of solidified fire oil, I quoted straightforwardly. 100 pounds of jade bone, 20 million for iron ore, 50 million for coal stone, 100,000 for silver, 10,000 for gold, 3 million for beast meat, 30 drops of cold apple jade dew, 90 stalks of white frost grass, 90 stalks of zhu yinhua, 30 red sun fruits, cold beard grass. You really dared to say that? Surely they wouldn't agree, right? Xia Hong couldn't help but interrupt Xia Chuan before finishing listening. This price was just too outrageous. Solidified fire oil is indeed a divine item, but for dealing with deceitful monsters, it's not the only option. Silver can also be used to deal with deceitful monsters, and he could basically be certain that the Dewdrop Plague could also be treated with silver because when Li Xuandu and Hu Quan first arrived, he observed with the eye of truth, and neither of them had the fiery red substance from dewdrop infection. The people appearing in Gourd Valley were almost all infected. Li Xuandu was one of them, and when he returned to Long Mountain, he wasn't infected anymore, which proved Long Mountain used silver to rid him of the dewdrop. Similarly, Hu Quan was likely the same, and after Hu Tong and others returned to Zhejiang, they must have brought the Dewdrop Plague back, yet Hu Quan wasn't infected, showing Zhejiang also used silver. During his days in Longyu, he had already found out that among Long Mountain and Zhejiang, whether there's a gold mine or not is unknown, but they certainly have a silver mine. Not to mention the terrifying prices Xia Chuan set. Just the inclusion of silver and gold in the goods was extremely unreasonable. Of course, they didn't agree. Xia Chuan immediately answered, chuckling. I just wanted to test their attitudes towards silver and gold. Other items they reacted normally to, but their biggest reaction was to silver and gold. Hearing this, Xia Hong was first stunned, then looked at Xia Chuan with full approval on his face. This time he only thought of using solidified fire oil to strip the two families' resources, really overlooking this point. Indeed, they could use the opportunity of solidified fire oil trade to explore the issue of their silver and gold mines. Thankfully, Xia Chuan thought of it. They probably also saw through my intent, and immediately stated that neither of them had a gold mine and couldn't produce gold. 100,000 pounds of silver was also impossible. They directly told me that raw silver ore would dissolve into liquid at extremely low temperatures, and this liquid could also treat the dewdrop plague. That's how they cured the dewdrop on them. If they could take out 100,000 pounds of silver, they wouldn't have needed to come to us for solidified fire oil. Just using silver could have saved everyone. Raw silver ore dissolving into liquid at extremely low temperatures. Xia Hong immediately developed a great interest in the uncontacted silver resource. However, now was not the time for him to indulge in that interest. Two possibilities. One is that silver is too precious. Both families could bring it out but are unwilling, so they fabricated this lie to deceive us. The other is, they didn't lie. Long Mountain and Zhejiang's silver on hand is indeed scarce, truly unable to produce 100,000 pounds. Chapter 598. Chapter 255. Frenzied Fortune-Making, Dangerous Thoughts, Perfect Timing, Part 2. Hearing Xia Hong's words, Xia Chuan immediately nodded. He certainly wouldn't be so naive as to believe the two of them outright, as he had also considered these two possibilities. I thought of that too. Regardless of which possibility it is, they definitely want solidified fire oil. I stalled them for a while, and finally, the two sides had no choice but to agree to give me 200 pounds. As Xia Chuan spoke, a smile appeared on his face. This is the advantage of being in a superior position in negotiations. Both sides are waiting for solidified fire oil to save people. He grasped this point firmly, ensuring a deal where he couldn't lose. I can tell that 200 pounds is pretty much their limit. Using silver melting water to save people must be quite painful for them. They'd rather give us 200 pounds to exchange for solidified fire oil, which proves silver is indeed very important and rare. Xia Hong nodded and continued to ask, You've listed so many resources. How exactly do you plan to trade them? Jade bone and the other 11 herbs are easy enough. Anyone can bring them over. But not the other items. 20 million iron ore, 50 million coal stones, 3 million beast meat. Just these three alone would require a substantial amount of manpower and resources to transport, so they can't be delivered all at once. Xia Chuan replied, I gave each of them 100 blocks of solidified fire oil in advance to take back with them. Once they return, they'll immediately bring the jade bone and herbs here. The three largest resource categories, beast meat, coal stones, iron ore, will be delivered to Wushuang in 5 batches within a month. Their inventory of coal stones and iron ore is certainly substantial, but taking out so much at once probably isn't easy. As for beast meat, it's even more challenging. It's not that I doubt their hunting abilities. Having stayed in Ping Valley, I know the hunting ability of Zhejiang Camp exceeds that of Great Xia. 3 million pounds of beast meat isn't that difficult for them. The challenge here is providing so much all at once. Zhejiang's population is over 60,000. Long Mountain has over 70,000. A large population means significant resource consumption. Even at 1 pound per person per day, they consume over 2 million pounds of beast meat monthly. No matter how strong their hunting ability is, they can't have too much stocked up. 3 million pounds of beast meat in a month's time should be more than enough. 100 blocks of solidified fire oil based on the situation last night is enough to save only about 500 people. Once these two return, they should quickly bring the jade bone, the other 11 herbs, and the silver. The remaining 900 blocks will be given directly to them, even though they probably still won't have enough. As long as they promptly provide the remaining beast meat, iron ore, and coal, we can continue to release more solidified fire oil. Our stock is sufficient. As long as they're willing to trade resources, we can continuously sell solidified fire oil. Xia Chuan grew more excited as he spoke, even unable to stop himself from exclaiming, "I'm beginning to feel that the deceitful monster is not such a bad thing. This white Dugu came at just the right time. The population of Great Xia has just surged, leading to a large resource gap. I'm even hoping this dewdrop plague can last a bit longer." Hearing Xia Chuan's words, Xia Hong's expression slightly darkened as he reprimanded. "There must be a limit to resource acquisition. Don't harbor such thoughts. Those who play with fire will ultimately get burned. Even though the white Dugu has been slain by me, the longer this dewdrop plague lasts, the more unpredictable changes could occur. Great Xia is now part of Longyu. We must think long-term. The 130,000 people of Long Mountain and Zhejiang will eventually become people of Great Xia. If they're all killed, it would be a loss for Great Xia as well." Xia Chuan's expression froze upon hearing this. He pondered for a moment with a gradually sobering expression, and with a tinge of regret he said, "I was thinking wrong. Thank you, brother, for pointing it out." Seeing Xia Chuan genuinely coming to his senses, Xia Hong nodded slightly, his expression softening. The fact is, Xia Chuan's idea holds significant operability for Great Xia, which possesses the divine object of solidified fire oil. By allowing the deceitful monster to exist in trading solidified fire oil for other camps' resources, they could be invincible. However, this idea also carries immense danger. Acquiring resources in this way, should Great Xia become accustomed to it, will inevitably foster a lax and lazy culture among the camp inhabitants. After all, if everything can be obtained through trade, who would want to hunt, chop wood, or mine? This isn't even the most dangerous part. Allowing the deceitful monster to exist unchecked is an extremely dangerous and terrifying ordeal. Once the balance is lost, it would harm others and themselves, and Great Xia wouldn't be immune to disaster. The 3 deceitful monsters encountered so far were not simple at all. Take the recent white Dugu, for example. On the night of Hankyang, after Xia Hong escaped from being suppressed, it recognized the lack of threat and began slaughtering in Gourd Valley. Even Li Xuanling and 10 other cold resistance-level individuals were scared away. Had Xia Hong not quickly learned the details from Xia Chuan and rushed back to Xia City to retrieve the Cold Ruins tripod and subdue it in Gourd Valley, Longyu's outcome could have been entirely different from now. Therefore, Xia Chuan's idea must be nipped in the bud. Continue overseeing the trade. Once they deliver the goods, report back to me. Xia Hong waved to dismiss Xia Chuan and turned back to the inner chamber, quietly awaiting news from the alchemy room. Li Xuandu and Hu Quan acted swiftly. Within 2 hours, both had rushed back from their respective camps to Wushuang. Once they left, Xia Chuan immediately and anxiously brought over 200 pounds of jade bone, along with all sorts of herbs required to produce 180 pounds of jade bone medicine, placing them in front of Xia Hong. Chapter 599, Chapter 255, Frenzied Fortune-Making, Dangerous Thoughts, Perfect Timing. 60 drops of cold apple jade dew, 180 stalks of white frost grass, 180 stalks of Zhuyinhua, 60 red sun fruits, 120 stalks of cold beard grass, 60 red sun fruits, 120 double-colored liquid spirit fruits, 60 pangxiang leaves, 180 stalks of jade spirit grass, 60 drops of ice soul liquid, 180 stalks of yin-yang flower, 60 linglong fruits. All these herbs are enough to make 180 portions of jade bone medicine. Long Mountain and Zhejiang are still quite rich indeed. Tusk. Looking at the dazzling array of herbs on the ground and hearing Xia Chuan sigh, Xia Hong couldn't help but feel a bit emotional. In the few days he spent in Ping Valley, Hu had no shortage of complaints about the poverty, always implying how precious jade bone and cold apple jade dew were, and how rare the materials for refining jade bone medicine were. But now, so many could be taken out all at once. Both families have quite a number of cold resistance level individuals in the late stage. How did they manage it? They must have a stable production of cold apple jade dew, and I suspect they also have stable channels for acquiring the other 11 herbs. They just keep them well hidden, and we don't know about them. After Xia Hong finished speaking, his gaze shifted to the back of the herbs. Behind the herbs were 2 silver stones, each about the size of a baby's fist. The stones were irregular in shape, emitting a holy silver glow, shining brightly in the firelight of the hall, making it hard for one not to take a second glance. 200 jin of silver, yet it's just this small piece, not even 1/10 the size of a palm. These 2 pieces weigh 400 jin, still not enough to make a dagger. At the moment Xia Hong saw the silver, he immediately understood why the 2 families didn't use silver to save the people infected with the dewdrop plague. Look at this volume. Even if silver is melted into water at low temperature, it's probably just a tiny bit. How many can it save? Xia Hong stepped forward to grasp the silver. With a slight application of force, his mind shifted slightly. The hardness, density, and weight all far exceed iron ore. The difficulty of melting and forging is definitely much higher than iron. Just this volume, the weight of a piece of silverware must far exceed imagination. No wonder. Recalling the time in Gourd Valley, where only Li Xuanling wielded a silver longsword, while the other 10 cold resistance level individuals only held silver daggers, Xia Hong's eyes suddenly showed a flash of understanding. Initially, he didn't understand why, if there were a silver mine, they only made such a small dagger. It turns out the density of silver is so astonishing. Judging by the volume and weight of these 2 pieces of silver, the daggers in the hands of those 10 cold resistance level individuals must weigh at least 1,000 jin each. I've already handed them the remaining 900 blocks of solidified fire oil. We'll see if the materials from the 2 families will be delivered in full. Xia Chuan spoke cheerfully. In truth, the moment this batch of materials arrived, Great Xia had already profited from the transaction. Of course, the next 3 million jin of beast meat, 20 million jin of iron ore, and 50 million jin of coal stone are also crucial. He certainly didn't want the 2 families to renege on the deal. Most likely they won't. As long as they're not foolish, they can figure out that we still have solidified fire oil in our hands. If they want more in the future, this batch of materials must be delivered in full. Seeing how exaggerated the volume of silver is, I estimate they will soon come to request a second batch of solidified fire oil. Just wait, the materials will soon. Leader, Yuan Dao and Yuan Cheng have arrived. As Xia Hong was speaking, Luo Yuan's voice suddenly came from outside the door. Upon hearing that it was Yuan Dao and Yuan Cheng who were recovering in the beehive, Xia Hong's face immediately showed a smile and said, "Bring them in. The jade bone medicine is about to be ready. These 2 indeed came at a good time." Chapter 600, Chapter 256, Yuan Dao's Suspicion and the Jade Bone Medicine. Greetings, leader. Soon, Luo Yuan led Yuan Dao and Yuan Cheng in together. After 4 months seeing Xia Hong again, the 2 were somewhat excited. Regardless of their still unhealed injuries, they bowed respectfully to Xia Hong. "No need for formalities. How are your injuries?" "They're not a problem anymore. Thank you for your concern, leader." "Same for me. I have no issue moving." Hearing their responses, Xia Hong first nodded, then realized something. As a faint light flashed in his left eye, he carefully examined their bodies, and his expression immediately tensed. "Leader, is there still a problem with us?" Seeing Xia Hong's change of expression, their hearts became uneasy, and they quickly asked. Xia Hong didn't respond. He merely stepped forward and first stripped off Yuan Cheng's shirt, then turned to signal Yuan Dao to remove his shirt as well. When their upper body wounds were fully exposed, Xia Hong looked with the eye of truth, and his expression became noticeably more grave. Both had taken a considerable amount of healing Dan medicine, and their bodies were covered in a layer of solidified fire oil, causing their wounds to begin closing and scabbing. The issue was, in Xia Hong's view, beneath those wounds, there were faint traces of a thin red substance. That red substance was identical to what was on Wuxiang. Even though there was only a bit under each wound, it was indeed present. Xia Hong quickly turned his gaze to Xia Chuan and Luo Yuan on the other side. Being looked at, Luo Yuan and Xia Chuan immediately understood, exposing several wound locations on their upper bodies, and then waited nervously for Xia Hong to speak. "Put your clothes on, there's nothing inside you." Upon hearing Xia Hong's words, Xia Chuan and Luo Yuan immediately appeared relieved. In contrast, Yuan Dao and Yuan Cheng still looked anxiously at Xia Hong. Go to the center and place your hands on the cold ruins tripod. Hearing Xia Hong's command, the two quickly went to the center of the hall and placed their hands on the cold ruins tripod. Hiss! A faint sound immediately came from their bodies, and moments later, a wisp of white smoke rose simultaneously from all the wounds on their bodies. Is it true? Solidified fire oil can't completely remove the dewdrop from inside. Xia Chuan's words made the previously relaxed expressions of Yuan Dao and Yuan Cheng, as well as Luo Yuan, turn tense again, and they all turned to look at Xia Hong, waiting for his answer. If Xia Chuan was right, it wouldn't just concern Yuan Cheng and Yuan Dao, but all the people infected with dewdrops might need to be examined. Not necessarily. I've checked everyone else's bodies and there's none. Probably it's because the two of you sustained such severe injuries, the dewdrop seeped into your body through the wounds, and because solidified fire oil can't be ingested, it had no effect, which is why it's like this. Xia Hong first calmed the three of them down, then lowered his head, lost in thought. Solidified fire oil can't be ingested. This had been tested long ago, and it's no secret in the Great Xia, so presumably his guess should have no problem. On the night of April 27, before the appearance of the White Du Gu at Yangyuan Peak, Yuan Dao had his chest pierced by Li Xuanxiang, subsequently contracted the dewdrop plague, and his body was briefly ignited. Although Yuan Cheng promptly extinguished the flames on him using solidified fire oil, Yuan Dao's injuries were still severe. The same with Yuan Cheng, according to him before dawn. To ensure that the 100 soldiers of the Great Xia could safely hide in a tree hole, he endured an attack by several thousand for over 10 minutes, accruing numerous wounds. His injuries were no less severe than Yuan Dao's. Dewdrops are most easily transmitted to the injured, and compared to others, Yuan Cheng and Yuan Dao's injuries were indeed more severe, making it entirely possible for some dewdrops to have invaded their bodies. The current question is, what about inside other people's bodies? It's not just the two of them who are injured. Among the more than 40,000 gathered at the Wushuang camp, many are severely wounded. Who knows if they also have it inside them? Leader, I just heard the minister say, you killed that White Du Gu at the Hankyang station. May I be bold to ask, on what basis did you reach this conclusion? Yuan Dao suddenly spoke with a solemn face, asking Xia Hong a question. Hearing this, everyone's face tightened. Evidently, they all caught the subtext of this question. Yuan Dao was suggesting that the White Du Gu might not be dead yet. The death of the White Du Gu shouldn't have any connection with the plague not disappearing. In everyone's view, the bloodthirsty and contagious dewdrop is simply a plague, a virus. The death of its creator shouldn't have anything to do with it continuing to spread. This would be quite normal. As long as solidified fire oil is used later to heal the dewdrops on everyone, the plague should naturally fade away. But Yuan Dao's words were clearly attempting to challenge previous assumptions. Even Xia Hong's facial expression changed slightly, and he lowered his head, deep in thought. But soon, he opened his mouth to refute Yuan Dao's idea. What I killed was Wuxing, but rather that White Du Gu. It can freely switch bodies among those infected with dewdrops, and Wuxing's body was just a shell to it. After being completely burned by solidified fire oil, it released 30 drops of cold apple jade dew. A normal cold resistance level human's death wouldn't produce such things. Xia Hong was no stranger to dealing with deceitful monsters. Without sufficient evidence, he wouldn't carelessly claim to have truly killed the White Du Gu. The wood puppet monster of the past also had methods to control others, but the ones it controlled were people it had killed, and after those puppets died, they wouldn't drop valuable items like Wu Xing did. Chapter 601, Chapter 256, Yuan Dao's Speculation and the Jade Bone Medicine, Part 2. Furthermore, Yuan Cheng told me that on the night the White Du Wraith appeared besides you and him, there were at least 9 cold resistance level individuals on Yangyuan Peak: Li Xuanxiang, Wuxing, Han Jialai, Wu Lin, Yue Kaiyan, Song Kang, Cheng Guang, and adding the deceased He Tu and Wu Ying. If the White Du Wraith could possess multiple people simultaneously, it wouldn't need to control just one Wuxing to come over. Yuan Cheng immediately nodded upon hearing this. Indeed, he had informed Xia Hong of everything that happened on Yangyuan Peak when Xia Hong went to the beehive. Seeing everyone fall silent, Xia Hong also lowered his head to continue thinking. There's one more point he hadn't mentioned, which is Wuxing's strength. The power of deceitful monsters mainly lies in their mysterious and unpredictable methods. Whether the monster itself or its human host, their power has an upper limit. The strongest power of Wuxing, that night had already surpassed 30 main. If this wasn't the true form of the White Du Wraith, then what could it be? This point wasn't mentioned, as the previous two reasons were almost enough to convince everyone. Even Yuan Dao, who raised doubts, had his brows furrowed now. Clearly, what Xia Hong said was reasoned and withstand scrutiny. The leader's words are indeed reasonable. I truly cannot find any reason to refute. But I have interacted with that deceitful monster, and I always feel that the White Du Wraith isn't so simple. It had the chance to kill everyone on Yangyuan Peak that night, yet it deliberately let thousands go. If it had no ulterior motives, I don't believe it. Moreover, aside from Wuxing, no one is clear about the current state of the other 6 cold resistance level individuals, Li Xuanxiang and others. It's not about Han Jiulai and Wu Lin for the time being, but Long Mountain has silverware. Li Xuanxiang and the others might not have died on Yangyuan Peak as originally thought. Who knows if the White Du Wraith left any contingency on them? After saying this, Yuan Dao paused for a moment and continued in a deep voice. Leader, the lesson of Jing Xian is still fresh in our minds. We must not underestimate creatures like deceitful monsters. In my observation on Yangyuan Peak that night, the White Du Wraith was very likely in a just revived state, yet it almost slaughtered the entire Yanglu camp. If Wuxing isn't the real body, it's lurking in the shadows, and who knows what disaster will result. Upon hearing Yuan Dao's reminder, not only Xia Chuan, Luo Yuan, and Yuan Cheng, but even Xia Hong's expression instantly grew much more serious. Wuxing is not the real body. This phrase surged in Xia Hong's mind, and he recalled the scene of 10,000 people simultaneously committing suicide in Jing Valley last March, sending a chilling tremor through his heart. If Yuan Dao's speculation proves true, the consequences would be severe. I need to go to Yangyuan Peak to assess the situation. The revival of the White Du Wraith took place at Yangyuan Peak. To verify Yuan Dao's speculation, naturally the best method is to go see Yangyuan Peak in person. But as soon as Xia Hong spoke, Xia Chuan immediately stopped him. Leader, absolutely not. Regardless of whether Wuxing is the true body of the White Du Wraith, the epidemic is still not completely over. Yangyuan Peak is the origin point of the plague, and no one knows what's going on. No one dares to approach now. Indeed, it's too dangerous over there. The leader must not go. Even if someone must go, we should go first and investigate. Upon hearing this, the three immediately spoke to dissuade, with Yuan Dao and Yuan Cheng reacting the most intensely. Evidently, both still held substantial fears regarding Yangyuan Peak in their hearts. Upon the group's urging, Xia Hong felt somewhat compelled to retreat. He indeed was frightened by Yuan Dao's speculation. If Wuxing is not the true body, it proves that the White Du Wraith's methods and power far exceed his imagination. Rashly charging into the enemy's lair is tantamount to suicide, isn't it? Leader, let me go. I've interacted with the White Du Wraith once and have experience. As long as I bring enough solidified fire oil, there shouldn't be a problem. Me too, I can go. Seeing everyone volunteering, a look of relief crossed Xia Hong's face, but he still shook his head, saying, unless we can guarantee safety, no one is to go. Whether the speculation is true or not, there's no need to risk lives to verify it. No one needs to go. He paused for a moment and continued. Even if Yuan Dao's speculation is true, it at least proves one point, that White Du Wraith doesn't yet have the power to dominate the 3 houses of Longyu. Otherwise, it wouldn't need to hide in the shadows. The urgent task is to check everyone in Great Xia thoroughly, ensuring the Dewdrop Plague doesn't reach Xia City. Other matters can be addressed later. Xia Chuan immediately looked back at the cold ruins tripod and said, the beehive should have partially arrived at Jing Valley, and Wushwang has already begun migrating people to the beehive. Eventually, everyone will arrive. Currently, people from Longyu here should not have reached Xia City yet. I will take the cold ruins tripod to Jing Valley immediately and do a complete screening there. Only after everyone has interacted with the cold ruins tripod can they return to Xia City. Everyone nodded in agreement. Xia City is the stronghold and must not be infiltrated by the dewdrops. With the cold ruins tripod serving as a transit station in Jing Valley, the problem should be manageable. Xia Chuan, we've not completed our transactions with the 2 families of Long Mountain and Jieyang. Just temporarily stay behind at Wushwang until everyone from Longyu has migrated back to Xia City. Then consult with Yuan Cheng to determine the defense envoy selections for the three bases, Wushwang, Hankyang, and Beehive. There shouldn't be any warring in Longyu for the time being, so whether I'm present or not shouldn't be a big issue. Chapter 602, Chapter 256, Yuan Dao's Speculation and the Jade Bone Medicine, Part 3. Yes, leader. Xia Hong pondered for a moment, then continued. Send someone to inform the families of Long Mountain and Jieyang about Yuan Dao's suspicions. It's best to confirm the whereabouts of Li Xuanxiang and the 6 others at cold resistance level. If White Dugu is truly not dead, it's most likely attached to these 6 individuals. Understood, big brother. In truth, up to this moment, Xia Hong still believed that White Dugu was already dead. However, if Yuan Dao's suspicion had even the slightest chance of being true, he couldn't ignore it. After all, if this suspicion were to come true, it would result in terrifying consequences. Informing the 2 families in advance is just fulfilling one's duty. With him in Great Xia, along with solidified fire oil and the cold ruins tripod, if White Dugu is truly not dead, it's likely to target Long Mountain and Jieyang first. If the 2 families have no defenses, the outcome would be unpredictable. Report, leader, the Jade Bone Medicine is ready. Xia Hong was about to continue speaking when Liu Xian's voice suddenly came from outside the hall. The medicine is ready so quickly. Xia Hong looked up at the light outside the window and realized that they had unknowingly been discussing for so long, and it was already daylight outside. Bring it in. As Liu Xian led 4 people, carrying 5 small iron pots into the hall, the heavy atmosphere in the hall instantly relaxed. Leader, the medicine totals 5 pounds, and we have already divided it. After Liu Xian finished speaking, he was the first to open the iron pot in front of him, and the other 4 followed suit, opening their pots. Hiss! A strong fragrance suddenly wafted out, filling the entire hall. Xia Chuan and the other 4 leaned over the iron pots, inhaling the blood-colored aroma, their faces quickly flushed, and they all showed expressions of indescribable intoxication. The 5 pots contained a thick liquid of sapphire color, which was medicine derived from high-level beast bones and other substances refined at high temperatures. You 2 were lucky to come just in time. Here, each of you takes a pound and have a taste. Xia Hong teased, gesturing Liu Xian and the others to retreat first, and then offering Xia Chuan and the others a pound each to try. Unlike the 4 who were experiencing Jade Bone Medicine for the first time, he had already tasted it in Jieyang Ping Valley and was familiar with the scent, so he wasn't as entranced as they were. Leader, you should take it all. Our battle body talents are not good enough. Wouldn't it be a waste for us to use it? Each person gets a pound. Stop complaining. This time it's free, but future Jade Bone Medicine will require contribution points for exchange. If you don't want it, I'll give it to someone else. Upon hearing this, Yuan Cheng chuckled and without saying a word, picked up the iron pot and poured the medicine into his mouth. The other 3 followed suit and began drinking. Xia Hong did the same and picked up an iron pot and started drinking. The Jade Bone Medicine was simply this sapphire-colored thick liquid. The method of consumption was straightforward and crude. Just pour it into the body. The 5 drank the medicine in one go. Apart from Xia Hong, who maintained his original composure, the other 4's faces instantly became flushed. Without needing Xia Hong's reminder, the 4 of them intuitively sat cross-legged, focusing on controlling their pores on the skin. As strands of blood energy floated out, the flesh within their bodies began to make rumbling noises. Along with the immense energy contained in the medicine, their flesh repeatedly contracted and expanded. During this process, the redness on their faces gradually faded, and the intensity of their muscles, including their basic strength, steadily increased. The process of absorbing the medicine is slow. This is just the first round. Try your best to endure, absorb as much as you can, and when your internal reactions are no longer intense, you can get up and go outside. You can undergo the second round of absorption by the daylight's cold light. You can sense how much energy remains from the medicine within your body. You must wait until the energy from the previous round is completely absorbed before starting the next round. Otherwise, conflicting energies will harm your flesh and body. Xia Hong himself was also absorbing the medicine's energy. Unlike the others, the pound's dosage was easy for him, so he didn't need to sit. He absorbed it while standing, even taking the opportunity to teach everyone the taboos of consuming jade bone medicine. All right then, you all may take a while longer. I'm heading back to Jing Valley now. Xia Hong quickly finished absorbing the first round of medicine. Seeing the four still immersed in cultivation, he left a message, took the cold ruins tripod and left directly. Chapter 603. Chapter 257. Building a Straight Road, the Beast Meat Issue. The dividing line of a day in the ice abyss is determined by dawn. When the jade bone medicine was completed, it was already dawn, which, strictly speaking, was April 29 in the second year of Great Xia. Xia Hong stored the cold ruins tripod in the system and first sped southeast, bypassing the beehive on the way, heading directly south towards Mirror Valley. The 10-odd kilometers from the beehive to Mirror Valley showed traces of human activity everywhere, some of which were clearly left just before dawn. The beehive has about 30,000 ordinary people. According to their migration plan, over 4 nights, it's estimated that 20,000 people have already passed through Mirror Valley back to Xia City. We can't have any escapees. We must rush back to Xia City, screen that batch of people first, and then place the cold ruins tripod in Mirror Valley. Xia Hong traveled alone, moving swiftly, arriving at Mirror Valley in no time. It was daytime, and Mirror Valley was naturally silent. No one could be seen outside the entire station, but inside 40 orderly wooden houses, without exception, lights were on, indicating that many people were residing there. Xia Hong directly walked towards the central, newly refurbished main building in the station. Someone's here. If they're outside during the day, they must be a cold resistance level expert, right? Judging by their clothes, similar to Lord Yue Feng's from last night, they should also be a Great Xia cold resistance level. The people living in the wooden houses were those who had migrated from the beehive. Having just changed environments, many were still unaccustomed and had not slept. Seeing Xia Hong walking through the corridor from the windows, they all expressed their curiosity. Yue Feng pays respect to the leader. As Xia Hong walked in with such flamboyance, Yue Feng ran out from inside even before he got close to the main building and bowed in salute. Yue Feng likely already learned from Meng Yi about Xia Hong's return to the camp, so although he was excited, he wasn't too surprised. Rise, how many people are in Mirror Valley now, and how many have you sent to Xia City already? You should have specific numbers, right? Yue Feng immediately nodded and answered. Over the past 4 nights, a total of 19,284 people came from the beehive, of which 15,242 have taken the straight path to Xia City. The remaining 4,042 are still in Mirror Valley, including 1,014 prisoners from Wushwang and the beehive. That's about as expected. Though it's only a dozen kilometers from the beehive to Mirror Valley, migrating over 5,000 people in one night is nearly the limit. Once these people reach Mirror Valley, they can easily take the straightforward path to Xia City, which is quite efficient. Of the 1,014 prisoners, how many are of the earth-digging realm? Great Xia fought 2 battles in Longyu, though Xia Hong knew about them. He wasn't clear on the exact number of prisoners, hence his curiosity inquired again. Upon hearing this, Yue Feng showed a hint of excitement and said, 466 earth-digging realm, 548 logging realm from both Zhejiang and Wushwang. The 2 iron mines in Mirror Valley had just been lacking workers, so all these people have been left here. As instructed by Minister, I've recorded these people under the names of the teams that captured them, so their mining production can directly fulfill the team's quotas. Xia Hong was momentarily stunned upon hearing this, then chuckled softly. He almost forgot, Great Xia has a rule concerning prisoners. According to the prisoner rules, all of these over 1,000 people have fought directly against Great Xia on the battlefield, so they are bound to be sentenced to more than 3 years of labor. During their service, the coal, stone, and iron ore they mine can be used to meet the mining quotas of those hunting teams. Xia Chuan told me that this time all 32 intermediate hunting teams have been dispatched. Your team likely captured a decent number of prisoners, right? Yue Feng chuckled at this and said, no choice, Minister ordered me to guard Mirror Valley, so the Mountain River team was led by Yuankun. That kid did well, capturing a total of 82 prisoners, including 24 earth-digging realm, ranking 6th among the 32 intermediate teams. You ranked 6th, which 5 teams are ahead of you? Intrigued, Xia Hong asked. He knew about the events with the beehive and Wushwang from Xia Chuan, but wasn't clear on the battle details. only that Beehive took advantage of Xia Hong without any damage, while 28 died when fighting Wushwang. Cloud Jiao, Tiger Leopard, Hunting Eagle, Steel Mane, Chuanwu. Xia Hong immediately recalled the names of these 5 team leaders: Xia Chuan, Luo Yuan, Zhao Long, Zhao Hu, and Han Guang, raising his eyebrows slightly. Yuan Dao and Yuan Cheng must have been delayed at Yangyuan Peak, missing the battle with Wushwang, which is why Long Wu and Chalong teams didn't make the top 5. Xuanwu team made it into the top 5 as well. Han Guang's performance isn't bad this time. Previously, Han Guang made a mistake in Huayuan, leading to the disbandment of Xuanwu team. But with his breakthrough to the cold resistance level, Xuanwu team was reformed. Making it into the top 5 this time proves Han Guang's growth, bringing a trace of relief to Xia Hong's face. This round, many new people have been added to the camp, and more than 40,000 will come later, so you'll have your hands full. With the situation in Longyu stabilizing, I've already ordered Xia Chuan to bring 1,800 people back first, which should include your mountain river team. You won't lack manpower, but you must ensure safety during the population migration. Dispatch more people to patrol along the route. Yue Feng nodded. Although he hadn't been to Longyu, through the population handovers these past few nights, he had learned much about Longyu's situation and knew a large population would still be arriving. However, seeing Xia Hong about to leave, he quickly spoke up. Leader, those logging realm prisoners can't mine, hence they're useless left here. After discussing with Qiu Peng, we decided to send them to cut wood and construct the straight road at night, which is also a form of service. Qiu Peng said, each month they'll receive a certain amount of beast meat as a reward for those who are diligent and reliable, which gives them some motivation for their service. If they break through to the earth-digging realm, they can even transfer to the mines for mining. Chapter 604, Chapter 257, Building a Straight Road, the Beast Meat Issue Part 2. Xia Hong heard this, and his eyes instantly lit up. Not only have we made use of the logging realm captives, but we've also motivated them to serve, and at the same time repaired the straight road. This is a good idea. Upon hearing Xia Hong's praise, Yue Feng's face immediately showed a smile. This idea was something he came up with together with Qiu Peng. The inspiration came from the population migration of the previous 4 nights. Every day, more than 5,000 people set off from the Beehive, heading south to Mirror Valley. Although it's only more than 10 kilometers due to the massive size of the group, the travel speed is frightfully slow. The reasons limiting the speed of the group are primarily the weather, the terrain, and occasionally encountering cold beasts along the way. The best solution, of course, is to build a summer straight road connecting the Beehive and Mirror Valley, not just for this migration. As the Great Xia territory expands to Longyu, connecting all the stations was always imperative. Building the summer straight road is not an easy task. Massive amounts of timber are secondary. As long as materials are locally sourced, it's not difficult. The hardest part, actually, is the construction. It is widely known that the snow thickness on the ground of the Ice Abyss Wilderness is extremely high. Simply clearing the snow from the ground is an extremely tedious and enormous task. Fortunately, this process can involve the logging realm. Not to mention, driving ground stakes is something only the earth-digging realm can do, and due to the length of the straight road, which stretches over 10 kilometers, at least hundreds or even thousands of earth-digging realm personnel are needed. In this situation, the construction period is at least a month or more. Then comes the subsequent installation of tunnels, setting up torch coal stoves, including post-construction maintenance, and arranging special teams to patrol and clear various cold beasts lurking around the tunnels. Covering all aspects is no small matter. Currently, within the Great Xia territory, there are 5 summer straight roads, 3 leading to the coal mines and iron mines inside Redwood Ridge, 1 to Huayuan and 1 to Mirror Valley. The straight road from Mirror Valley to the Beehive was initially expected to take 3 months to build, but the leader brought back 1,800 people, so the construction period can be halved. It's estimated to be passable by June, making the transport of goods and personnel much more convenient. Xia Hong nodded, his face full of approval. The iron mines and coal mines under the names of Beehive, Wushwang and Hankyang are quite numerous, and just last night, a deal for solidified fire oil was finalized with Long Mountain and Jieyang. With this summer straight road, the resources from Longyu can be efficiently and continuously transported back to Xia City, which greatly benefits Great Xia. The movement of personnel goes without saying. Using logging realm captives to repair the straight road is a good idea. Remember to report this to Xia Chuan later and have him included in the captive rules, giving you and Qiu Peng credit. Upon hearing Xia Hong's commendation, Yue Feng showed a hint of hesitance and said, "Leader, I don't need credit. I have a request and hope the leader will agree." This was indeed surprising. Yue Feng actually proactively made a request to him. Xia Hong was curious in his heart and asked, "What is the request?" Yue Feng hesitated for a moment before clasping his fists and said, "This time with the opening of the territory in Longyu, I've been stationed in Mirror Valley the whole time without contributing at all, and I'm almost going crazy from being cooped up. Please allow someone else to take over as the Mirror Valley Defense Commander and transfer me to the other side of Longyu." Hadohafu. Xia Hong immediately laughed when he heard this. He thought it was some kind of request, but did not expect it was Yue Feng himself, getting a bit restless. Not to mention, in this battle in Longyu, nearly all of Great Xia's cold resistance level personnel were deployed. Only Yue Feng, Su Ning, and Zhu Ling remained on duty. Watching others achieve merits while Yue Feng could only observe, his anxiety is quite understandable. However, Xia Hong glanced at the orderly Mirror Valley, shook his head slightly, and did not agree to Yue Feng's request. Yue Feng saw Xia Hong shake his head, and his face immediately showed a hint of disappointment. Xia Hong smiled and said, "Don't rush. Being a defense envoy is not at odds with fighting outside. If you can train someone who can manage Mirror Valley well when you're not around, won't you be free then?" Upon hearing this, Yue Feng's eyes suddenly lit up. "That's right. Just like the Mountain River team, this time during the expedition to Longyu, he as the team leader didn't go over, but Li Yuankun led the team and performed well, didn't he? All right, think about it slowly yourself. I'm heading back to Xia City now. Farewell, leader." After finishing his words, Xia Hong didn't wait for Yue Feng to salute, directly transforming into a gust of wind, sweeping towards Xia City in the south. In Xia City's inner valley, main building. The camp supply department on the second floor, where personnel are constantly entering and exiting. Qiu Peng is patrolling inside the camp supply department's warehouse, with a young man behind him continuously talking to him about something. On the 26th, after the director issued the order, we immediately raised the beast meat price tenfold. Currently, 5 contribution value exchanges for £1. Many people in the camp realized there would be a shortage of beast meat soon, so a panic buying phenomenon occurred on the same day. You didn't take measures. We did. We immediately stipulated that the daily exchange limit for cold resistance level is £100, earth digging realm is £10, and logging realm is £5. But even so, the beast meat consumption reached an astonishing £118,250 on the 27th, and the exchange volume in the following 2 days fluctuated around £110,000 daily, reducing the stored beast meat from over £1.2 million to £910,000 in 3 days. £110,000, how was this exchanged? So many cold resistance level and earth digging realm went to Longyu, did they exchange too? Hearing the number £110,000, Qiu Peng was immediately full of confusion. Chapter 605, Chapter 257, Straightening the Road and the Beast Meat Problem, Part 3. The young man smiled helplessly upon hearing this and said, "The director might not know, but those men handed over their contribution value exchange rights to their families before setting out." "This makes sense then." Qiu Peng shook his head slightly, only then did he understand. Those who are out on expeditions are fundamentally sacrificing for the camp. Handing over their contribution value to their families is natural, and he can't say much about it. At the beginning of the Cold Element Festival, when reporting to Xia Hong, the camp had a total of 2,192 in the earth-digging realm and 11,924 in the logging realm. Now, 4 months have passed, and these numbers have naturally changed dramatically. 3,282, 16,293. Qiu Peng opened the camp supply department ledger in his hand, saw the new numbers, and his expression tightened slightly before revealing a mix of joy and worry. The joy, of course, is that there has been a dramatic increase in the number of both earth-digging and logging realms in Great Xia. The worry, however, is that, with the rapid increase in numbers, the consumption of beast meat is becoming terrifyingly high. With 3,282 in the earth-digging realm and 16,293 in the logging realm, based on these numbers, and combining them with the ceiling for exchange that was just reported, if everyone were to exchange, the current daily beast meat consumption in the camp supply department would precisely amount to 110,000 jin. Last December, just in that month alone, the hunting department submitted a total of 2.1 million jin of beast meat. If everything were normal, this consumption wouldn't be a problem for us, but now. Qiu Peng waved his hand directly, indicating to his subordinate not to say anything further. The situation had already changed, he understood that. In December last year, that 2.1 million jin figure was something he personally reported to Xia Hong in the Grand Hall, and he remembered it clearly. The problem is that back then, the entire hunting department was fully committed to hunting cold beasts, unlike now, when suddenly 2,600 in the earth-digging realm have gone to Longyu, including 32 intermediate hunting teams. We have a reserve of 1.2 million jin. The last 3 days were exchanged for about 110,000 jin each day, and today there's only 910,000 jin left. So, in these 3 days, the beast meat submitted by the hunting department was only over 40,000 jin. Qiu Peng, upon asking, saw the young man nod immediately, smiling bitterly. Indeed, it's just that much. Here in Xia City currently there are only 10 low-level hunting teams, and among them 3 were just established. Their hunting ability is indeed insufficient. Luckily, with Lord Zhu Ling leading them personally, they managed to bring back about 20,000 jin each night. Plus, with contributions from Mirror Valley and Huayuan combined, we gather around 20,000 jin each night, bringing the total to a bit over 40,000. Qiu Peng shook his head upon hearing this. Even though Zhu Ling has cold resistance level cultivation, leading those low-level teams, they can likely only hunt low-level cold beasts. Otherwise, they couldn't possibly kill 2 or 30 in a night. Yue Feng from Mirror Valley and Su Ning from Huayuan are probably doing the same, taking the 100 or so earth-digging realm guardians and hunting low-level cold beasts to supplement the camp. Sir, should we temporarily halt the beast meat supply for the reservists? This group consumes 30,000 to 40,000 jin daily, and even if they make a breakthrough, they're only in the logging realm. According to your words, we should focus on nurturing a portion into the earth-digging realm soon. It would be better to allocate some beast meat to others by stopping the supply to them first. No need, I forgot to tell you that the leader has already recalled people. Over the next few days, 1,800 people will gradually return to Xia City, including many intermediate teams. By then, the beast meat reserve should not be an issue. Qiu Peng, since returning last night, has been handling other matters and clearly hasn't communicated this information. Upon hearing this, the young man's expression instantly lightened significantly. 1,800 people, and with many intermediate hunting teams, there should definitely be no issue. Can we also lower the beast meat prices? Given the current situation, with 40,000 jin of beast meat coming in daily, once 1,800 people return from Longyu, the camp's current beast meat predicament would be immediately resolved. Thinking of the still abundant stock, the young man promptly asked Qiu Peng whether the prices should be reduced. Qiu Peng shook his head immediately. Prices will not be reduced for now. This round of population increase will be quite terrifying. Let's observe the actual beast meat consumption for now and decide once things stabilize. The population increase this time will be quite terrifying. The young man seemed unaware of the situation in Longyu and immediately asked with curiosity. Already in the past 3 nights, more than 15,000 people have arrived. Do you mean more will come? Qiu Peng suddenly raised his head and looked towards the top of the building. The young man thought he hadn't heard clearly and wanted to speak again. Over 40,000 more people should be coming gradually. I'm going upstairs to meet the leader first. Wait here for me, I'll be right back. Going upstairs to meet the leader. The leader has returned. Yes, sir. The young man straightened his expression, respectfully looking up at the top of the building. Over 40,000 people. After Qiu Peng left, the young man was taken aback by the words he had just heard. Did I hear that right? Did the sir just say over 40,000 more people will gradually come? The camp already has such a large population, and with 40,000 more, wouldn't that mean? His expression suddenly froze, his face instantly full of astonishment. Chapter 606, Chapter 258, Construction Bottleneck, Screening and Army Building Ideas. Camp Great Xia Level 0. Lord Xia Hong. Cultivation, Mid-Stage Cold Resistance 22 Chinese Ladder. Territory Population, 53,129. Resources: wood 8.2 million, coal 7.52 million, iron 4.16 million, silver 80 gold 0. Activated Building 7. Cold Ruins Tripod Level 4, Martial Arts Hall Level 3, Medicine Workshop Level 2, Artifact Refining Workshop Level 3, Black Soil Wall Level 2, Heroic Spirit Monument Level 3, Yellow Earth Level 1. Unactivated Buildings 2, Small Wooden Table, Rough Iron Chain. In the main hall on the top floor, Xia Hong sat alone on the high platform, reviewing various resource statistics within the system, showing a mixed expression of joy and concern. The joy naturally came from the surge in all resource data within the system, including population, over the past 4 months. The concern, however, was plentiful. First, the system still assessed the camp as level 0. No surprise, it seems I have to activate all 9 buildings before the system will determine my camp's level. Second, the activation conditions for the last 2 buildings are too difficult. Small wooden table, iron 10,000, silver 3,000. Rough iron chain, silver 1,000, gold 5,000. Looking at the resources needed to activate the last 2 buildings, Xia Hong couldn't help but shake his head. Long Mountain and Jieyang provided a total of 400 pounds of silver, which he had already converted into system resource units. The conversion rate for silver was 5 pounds for 1 point. From coal to iron and now to silver, observing the increasingly lower conversion rates, it's estimated that future gold will be 2 pounds or even 1 pound for 1 point. Pounds of silver for each point also means that to activate the small wooden table, at least 15,000 pounds of silver must be accumulated. Both Long Mountain and Jieyang, amidst such a perilous situation, only managed to spare 200 pounds each to buy solidified fire oil from Great Xia. This alone suffices to prove the preciousness of silver. Pounds. Without finding a silver mine, it's likely impossible to gather that much. The small wooden table is already such a challenge. The rough iron chain simply can't be considered. Still can't activate these 2 buildings, and since Yellow Earth and Black Soil Wall haven't been fully converted, upgrade conditions are not met. The remaining Heroic Spirit Monument, Martial Arts Hall, Cold Ruins Tripod, Artifact Refining Workshop, these 4 buildings all need silver to upgrade. That is to say, despite having sufficient resources, all he could convert were Black Soil Wall and Yellow Earth. Without silver, these buildings can only remain as they are. The only one that can be upgraded is the Medicine Workshop. Medicine Workshop Level 2. Upgrade conditions: wood 200,000, coal 200,000, iron 400,000, 20 synthesis formulas. Xia Hong glanced at the upgrade conditions for the Medicine Workshop and finally checked its current 31 formulas, feeling somewhat relieved. Silver, need to come up with a solution. With a sigh, Xia Hong then waved his hand, placing the Cold Ruins tripod in the center of the main hall. His return had been silent, and many in the camp were still unaware of his presence in the main hall, releasing the Cold Ruins tripod to remind others. The flames of the Cold Ruins tripod burst forth, instantly spreading warmth from the main hall outward, with a radiation range of 5 kilometers warming up the inner city, outer city, and even part of the outer area. And why has the street warmed up? I didn't light the coal stove, yet my house warmed up. It's coming from the main building. The holy tripod must have been lit. Definitely, the leader has returned. Last time the leader took the holy tripod away, Mr. Zhu had us warm ourselves with coal stones. The leader must have brought the holy tripod back. The warming effect of the Cold Ruins tripod was immediate. Many quickly realized Xia Hong had returned with the holy tripod. Greetings, leader. Qiu Peng was the first to arrive at the top floor main hall. Greetings, leader. Followed by Zhu Ling, Craftsman Department Director Mu Dong, Harvesting Department's Director and Deputy Director Cheng Feng, and Bai Dongying, who had stayed behind in Xia City. The dewdrop plague in Longyu has not ended yet. Without any waste of words, Xia Hong directly spoke of the Dewdrop Association's intrusion into human bodies, and then ordered Qiu Peng, to be safe, have the camp supply department immediately notify everyone in the camp, including yourselves, that all 53,129 people must be screened with the Cold Ruins tripod. After the screening, I will place the Cold Ruins tripod at the outer city gate. Everyone coming from Mirror Valley afterward must be screened. I'll handle it immediately. Understanding the severity, Qiu Peng didn't delay, bowed, and promptly exited the main hall to inform others, leaving Mu Dong, Cheng Feng, and Bai Dongying in the main hall. Mu Dong, the artifact refining workshop seems lively. Have any good items been forged? When Xia Hong returned to the main building, he heard loud noises coming from the rear artifact refining workshop, guessing something good had been forged, and asked just to confirm. On hearing Xia Hong's words, Mu Dong was prepared, drew out a saber from his waist, and proudly displayed it to Xia Hong. Xia Hong's eyes immediately lit up upon seeing the blade. It was a horizontal blade, with hundreds of forged silver patterns on its side. A common 100-forged horizontal blade could not elicit such a reaction from Xia Hong. The key was that the blade emitted a faint fiery red hue, and even standing 5 to 6 meters away, Xia Hong could clearly perceive the high temperature radiating from the blade. Previously, the leader told us the artifact refining workshop could forge weapons with beast-suppressing attributes. All this time, the craftsman department hadn't forged a single one, and I was feeling quite down. Today, perhaps thanks to the leader's blessing, as soon as you returned, the workshop finally produced one, ha ha ha. Mu Dong was genuinely happy. After so long without forging the beast-suppressing weapon Xia Hong had mentioned, he had indeed been quite troubled. He never doubted Xia Hong, always believing there was an issue with his forging skills. Today, at last, they forged one, relieving his concerns. Chapter 607, Chapter 258, Construction Bottleneck Screening and Army Building Ideas, Part 2. Xia Hong shook his head with a light laugh, naturally not taking his flattery seriously. He took the horizontal blade handed to him and touched the scorching blade with his hand, his gaze slightly focused. Cold Beast, as the name implies, naturally loves the cold. The cold light during the day makes them more energetic and more ferocious, which confirms this. So, weapons with beast-suppressing attributes come with this strange heat. Xia Hong stretched out his finger to touch the blade, finding that its sharpness was no different from the ordinary 100-forged weapons forged by Great Xia. Leader, this beast-suppressing weapon, like that cold blood blade on you, is specially made for cold beasts, not of much use against humans. If the members of the hunting team were all equipped with such weapons, it would greatly enhance their hunting success rate. Mu Dong apparently saw Xia Hong's intention of testing the blade, and immediately explained. Xia Hong nodded, recalling the description of the third-level refining workshop, which mentioned a 1% probability of crafting beast-suppressing weapons, and asked curiously, "You've crafted a lot of weapons before, so why did you only now make one with beast-suppressing attributes? Do you have any answers yourself?" Mu Dong also knew about the 1% probability. He had evidently thought about this matter too and answered with a hint of speculation. "I've thought about this question as well. If I'm not mistaken, it's likely that only 100-forged weapons have the chance to manifest this beast-suppressing attribute. Recently, due to the camp having battles in Longyu, I've been leading the artifact refining workshop to mass-produce 100-forged weapons." That's right. The minimum requirement for a 100-forged weapon to have a chance of manifesting beast-suppressing attributes. Xia Hong nodded, immediately agreeing with Mu Dong's guess. The 10 forged weapons produced by the artifact refining workshop, if not tens of thousands, are still in the thousands. By probability, there should be several items manifesting this attribute. It's not possible to be so unlucky. Mu Dong's guess is quite reasonable. How's your efficiency in mass-producing 100 forged weapons? Upon hearing Mu Dong talk about the artifact refining workshop being busy with this, Xia Hong immediately showed interest. Not to mention the fact that during this trip to Longyu, he discovered that even comparing with Long Mountain and Zhejiang, or even the Hive Camp, the prevalence of 100-forged weapons there is much higher than in Great Xia. Currently, in the 2,600 people of Earth-digging realm in Great Xia located in Longyu, 90% still use 10-forged weapons. With weapons like this, armor is even less worth mentioning. In terms of weapons, Great Xia needs to catch up quickly. Not only weapons, but armor is also being forged urgently. The artifact refining workshop currently supports a maximum of 50 simultaneous smelting furnaces. Since the battle is crucial, we've reserved only 5 furnaces for crafting other items. The remaining 45 furnaces, 20 are used for forging weapons, 25 are used for forging armor. Currently, the craftsman department is working in shifts, almost day and night without ceasing. Roughly calculated, about 500 forged weapons and 2 sets of 100 forged armor are produced daily. This efficiency is really quite slow. While Xia Hong sighed internally about the slowness, he also knew that such things couldn't be rushed. The first 10 forged blades startling, cold by great Xia, was forged personally by him. He understood entirely how difficult it was to forge weapons. Forging iron isn't difficult, but the challenge is in continuously producing forging patterns. This process cannot be skipped. It relies solely on human effort to keep hammering, consuming a large amount of time, which is unavoidable. Armor is more intricate and complex than weapons, naturally taking more time. This is despite Great Xia having the additional effect of the artifact refining workshop, ordinary camps for 100 forged weapons at an even slower pace. Leader, don't worry. As our earth-digging realm craftsmen increase in number and their craftsmanship skills continue to improve, this efficiency will keep rising. Yudong evidently noticed Xia Hong's impatience with the slow pace and immediately added, "It's not really slow, just do your best. I remember that at the beginning of the year, you said there were a total of 580 craftsmen. How many are there now?" Now there are already 845 people, with 320 in the earth-digging realm. I heard from Qiu Sijing that among those coming over from Longyu this time, there are quite a few skilled craftsmen, so there'll be more. Nearly 1,000. Xia Hong slightly nodded. After this round of population surge, the camp's population is almost breaking through 100,000. The number of craftsmen emerging from it will surely be considerable. Breaking through 1,000 should be easy. Cheng Feng, I have 11 types of medicinal herbs here. Later, take them to the medicine workshop for identification to see if any new Dan medicine recipes can be generated. After asking about the craftsman department, Xia Hong then called Cheng Feng over, handing him 11 types of herbs for boiling jade bone. The dazzling variety of herbs displayed before him made Cheng Feng widen his eyes. He has served as the director of harvesting department for a long time and has seen countless types of herbs, easily discerning their preciousness. The 11 herbs Xia Hong took out, just by smelling them, he knew how precious they were. Thinking about the new recipes that might emerge, he felt excited and along with Bai Dongying, took out wooden boxes to carefully package the herbs. The three of you are directors after all, your cultivation should improve too. Is the camp currently lacking beast blood? Xia Hong glanced around at the three people, noticing that their basic strength had reached the limit of 30,000 pounds. However, their skin remained unchanged, visibly having never used beast blood, prompting his curious question. Among the current directors of the 6 ministries in Great Xia, apart from Shi Ping, deputy director of the supervision department, it seems only these 3 haven't broken through to cold resistance level. When I met Shi Ping in Wushuang, his basic strength was over 50,000, and he's likely not far from breaking through. You should not fall increasingly behind. Chapter 608, Chapter 258, Construction Bottlenecks, Screening and Army Building Ideas, Part 3. In the Ice Abyss world, strength ultimately matters most. Although Xia Hong didn't initially require the directors of the 6 ministries to be stronger than others, they certainly couldn't lag too far behind. Including Peng Bo and Chen Yingyuan, among others, the Great Xia has already surpassed 20 at the cold resistance level, and with this wave of territorial expansion and strength increase, more cold resistance levels are bound to appear. If these 3 don't achieve a breakthrough soon, it's hard to ensure that others won't voice any complaints. The 3 of them clearly caught the underlying tone in Xia Hong's words, showing a hint of guilt on their faces. Ultimately, it was Mu Dong who spoke up. Leader, we are not lacking in beast blood, but ever since the minister transferred a large number of troops to Longyu, we are also aware that the camp is in need of people. Therefore, we tried to reserve such crucial cultivation resources as beast blood for those closer to a breakthrough. Upon hearing this, Xia Hong recalled when Qiu Peng mentioned the increase in beast meat prices back in Wushuang and understood immediately. A large number of hunting teams have gone to Longyu, and the beast meat supply has begun to tighten, let alone the beast blood. All 32 intermediate hunting teams have gone to Longyu. I estimate that the camp's supply department hasn't even received any beast blood, relying entirely on stockpiles. Other ordinary people have noticed the issue with the beast meat supply and started hoarding. Senior officials and those with higher cultivation like Mu Dong and Cheng Feng in the camp clearly have a much longer-term vision, knowing they are far from a breakthrough, thus allowing others who are closer to have priority access to resources. From the tightening on resources like beast meat and beast blood, It's clear that the Longyu warfare has significantly impacted the normal life here in Xia City. No, it's not just the Longyu warfare. Any large-scale external warfare Great Xia engages in will severely affect normal living conditions in the future. To change that, there's only one solution. Establish a formal army that can disengage at any time. Images of the Blood Guard army and the Longyu army's grand formations flashed through Xia Hong's mind. His eyes showed a slight longing as his expression once again turned somber. It's impractical. First, the strength has surpassed the limit of 30,000 pounds. Second, each person has a set of 100 forged weapons and armor, along with a 30-stone bow. Judging by the soldiers' selection criteria in these two armies, Great Xia definitely can't achieve that. Even without delving deeply, Xia Hong could roughly infer that there aren't likely more than 200 in the Great Xia who have reached the 30,000-pound limit in the earth-digging realm. Moreover, all these people are hunting team leaders. Gathering them to form an army would undoubtedly have great combat power, but it would hugely impact the lower-tier hunting teams. The most ideal state is still to let them grow together, using hunting teams as the foundational units and forming a grand army with multiple teams. This would not only save significant integration time, but also not affect their combat strength. The battle in Wushuang, where only 23 people died, is the best evidence supporting Xia Hong's idea. Time, still need time, hopefully. Longyu can remain calm for a bit longer, and Jieyang and Long Mountain won't cause me any more trouble. It's not just time. Resources must also keep up, especially beast meat and beast blood. Qiu Peng has already started screening personnel. You all should go help. Xia Hong noticed the movement of personnel below, knowing that Qiu Peng had begun using the Cold Ruins tripod for the screening, and immediately dismissed Mu Dong and the other two, then sat alone in a chair, continually contemplating how to quickly improve his strength. Those 1,800 people are about to return from Longyu soon. The beast meat prices must be restored, and resources like the martial arts hall, Dan medicine, salt, and wine must be prioritized for the earth-digging realm and some near-breakthrough logging realms to rapidly enhance the number and quality of the camp's backbone layer. Once the army is established sooner, Longyu can be secured one day earlier. Chapter 609, Chapter 259, Tasks Helplessness Ongoing Screening. Second year of Great Xia, April 29, Nightfall. Since May of last year, after the camp supply department began selling land, Great Xia officially entered the era of separate households, based on family units. Initially, the price of land was high, and few could afford to buy and build their own houses, likely just high-level figures like Xia Chuan, Yuan Dao, Yuan Cheng, and Luo Yuan. But now, a year later, the situation has naturally changed. Centered around the main building, the three wide main roads on both sides are densely lined with houses. Apart from the exterior decorations being different, the style is basically the same, so at a glance, it looks clean, neat, and extremely orderly. At the entrance to the inner city, the young Xiang Liang led a large crowd, slowly passing through the iron gate into the inner city. Don't push, move forward slowly. There are still many people behind. Come one by one, don't push. Xiang Liang walked along the side of the team, maintaining order. After entering the inner city, he saw the houses on both sides of the street, full of envy on his face, and then thought of something, saying loudly to everyone, "These days you've come. It's not easy to enter the inner city once. Take a good look at both sides. The houses here are much better than those in the outer city." Sure enough, upon hearing Xiang Liang's words, everyone turned to look at the houses in the inner city. At this sight, the previously noisy team instantly quieted down. Why are so many of these houses golden? Golden frost wood. These houses must be made of golden frost wood. Gasp, those houses, all of them are made of golden frost wood. Quick, look at that one. Why is the roof covered with a layer of blue blanket? What blue blanket? That's a lot of frost wolf skin sewn together. Covering the entire roof, it's so big, how many would that have taken? Beast skin is nothing. Look at that one ahead. Not only is the roof covered with a large piece of beast skin, but the door and windows are also made of iron. No, look over there. That house not only has iron doors and windows, but even the eaves are made of iron, and there are white cold beast sculptures at the eaves, carved from beast bones. In the team, exclamations echoed one after another. Listening to these exclamations, Xiang Liang was not surprised at all. Before taking these beehive people into the inner city, he had already guessed it. Because 4 months ago, when he first came to the Great Xia Valley and saw these wooden houses in the inner valley, his reaction was not much stronger than these beehive people. In the past 3 nights, a total of 14,000 people had come from the beehive, all arranged to live in 3 temporary wooden houses in the outer city. According to Xiang Liang's observations, this batch of people who had just migrated from the beehive in the first few days in the outer city had already been quite shocked. It seems that even as large camps, living standards can vary greatly. From the clothes and things used by these people from the beehive, you can roughly tell. My father also said, the beehive's earth-digging realm only adds up to more than 700 people. Compared to our Great Xia, the difference is simply too vast. 4 months ago, due to his merits in offering cold marrow iron, all 4 of Xiang Liang's family members were relieved of corvée, and all 5 of them successfully became members of Great Xia. His father, Xiang Ping, with cultivation at the earth-digging realm, successfully joined a low-level hunting team 4 months ago. Just relying on the contribution value his father earned in the hunting team, the whole family didn't lack beast meat for cultivation. Not to mention, he himself also entered the harvesting department, and by relying on the income from logging, he could also maintain his cultivation expenses. Originally, Xiang Liang was already quite satisfied with such days. But ever since he tasted the flavor of the beast essence pill and salt, discovered the existence of the martial arts academy, knew that the current youngest person in Great Xia to reach the earth-digging realm was a person named Hong Xiaokang, 15 years and 1 month old. After learning all this, Xiang Liang's thoughts suddenly changed completely. He was about to turn 17 this year, with basic strength only at 5,900 pounds. According to his current progress, he calculated that it would take him at least until he was 19 or even 20 to break through to the earth-digging realm. Not to mention comparing with Hong Xiaokang, Xiang Liang observed that the young people currently breaking through to the earth-digging realm in the camp could roughly be divided into 3 tiers: those below 16 years old, those below 17, and those below 18. In other words, if he followed the routine, his aptitude wouldn't even reach the 3rd tier in the camp. This was extremely hard for the self-proclaimed exceptional Xiang Liang to accept. Therefore, he must find a way to earn more contribution value to exchange for resources to enhance cultivation speed, so he could reach the earth-digging realm as soon as possible. But the problem was, he only had cultivation at the logging realm, and relying solely on logging and gathering every night couldn't earn him much contribution value. Salt, aged wine, beast essence pills, and the cultivation quota from the martial arts academy, these highly sought-after resources, he would have to save for a long time to exchange for even once. 9 days ago, when the minister transferred a large number of people to Longyu, Xiang Liang noticed the camp's supply department was short on people and immediately volunteered to help, unexpectedly managing to get in by chance. For 3 consecutive nights, the more than 10,000 people coming from the beehive needed to be accommodated and arranged by people from the camp's supply department, and Xiang Liang happened to be one of them. Right now, following him was a team of about 500 people for which he was specifically responsible. Accommodating newcomers into the camp is not just about providing them with temporary housing. It involves explaining all the regulations of Great Xia, including contribution value, and all matters needing attention within the camp to them. In short, it's about integrating these newcomers from the beehive into Great Xia as quickly as possible, enabling them to return to a normal hunting and gathering lifestyle. Chapter 610, Chapter 259, Tasks, Helplessness, Ongoing Screening Part 2. Like him, there are 28 other people who took on this task. Above them is a captain who will reward them with varying contribution value based on how well they integrate their respective teams after this is over. With contribution value as a reward, Xiang Liang naturally worked hard. To make these 500 people quickly understand and adapt to the camp, he spent the first 3 nights eating and living with these people in temporary wooden houses in the outer city, becoming quite familiar with them. Seeing that everyone was still staring intently at the various buildings of the inner city, Xiang Liang cleared his throat and said, "As I told you last night, the land price in the outer city is currently around 1,500 contribution value. Can you guess how much the land in the inner city was worth when it was just being planned?" 3,000. It should be more, maybe 3,500. I guess 4,000. Oh yeah? These people were quite familiar with Xiang Liang, and all boldly started guessing. But no one guessed right. Xiang Liang shook his head, denying all their answers, and then said, "The lowest is 4,000, the highest is 7,000. Hiss. The crowd heard this and immediately took a collective breath of cold air. Previously, Xiang Liang said that in the logging realm, without any unexpected gains, one could only earn 1 to 3 points of contribution value per night through logging and gathering. When they heard the land price in the outer city last night, they were already quite hopeless. Now, hearing the inner city's land price, with a minimum of 4,000, they all instantly wilted like a frostbitten eggplant. Don't worry, it's basically impossible for you to relate with the inner city. All 4,200 plots of land in the inner city have owners, and houses have already been built on them. Just have a look. Is there any empty land in the inner city? Upon hearing Xiang Liang's words, everyone immediately started scanning the area and indeed found that besides the streets, there wasn't a patch of empty land in the inner city, which immediately left them quite stirred. It's basically impossible for someone in the logging realm to buy land solely by themselves. According to what Master Xiang said last night, only by breaking into the earth-digging realm and joining a hunting team would there be hope of saving enough contribution value. With all the 4,200 plots of land in the inner city already owned, what does that imply? There are more than 4,200 earth-digging realm individuals in Great Xia. How could it be? Hearing the murmurs below, Xiang Liang was slightly moved but didn't explain. He had been to the camp's supply department and knew that the current number of earth-digging realm individuals in Great Xia was about 3,000, not yet reaching 4,200. Not explaining was still for the sake of his mission. Xiang Liang was quite aware that people respect strength, and the best way to help a group of newcomers quickly integrate into the camp is to let them feel the might of Great Xia. Once they sense the might of Great Xia, they will naturally seek integration. Instead of plainly telling them that Great Xia is powerful, it's better to let them concoct their own wild guesses, which definitely yields a stronger effect. Alright, stop just looking at houses, let's keep moving forward. Xiang Liang urged, and immediately everyone sped up their pace to move forward. Soon, a majestic and solemn massive main building appeared in everyone's sight, causing them all to stop in their tracks, as if their very breaths had been momentarily suspended. The 3-story main building, about 15 meters high and 200 meters long, was like a giant beast crouching in the abyss of the valley. Compared to 4 months ago, the main building had become darker, evidently due to the increased proportion of iron. Although it still displayed a mix of gold and black colors overall, the black now prevailed, lending it a few more degrees of majesty and solemnity than before. At the top of the wooden building, a flag was fluttering in the cold wind. The flag was golden yellow, with a large black character Xia in the center. Under the eaves of each floor of the wooden building, there were 40 or 50 coal stoves hanging. The eaves were decorated with dragon and phoenix patterns, and the white jade-like translucent beast bone sculptures were vividly illuminated by the stove fire, making them extraordinarily mesmerizing. All 3 floors of the wooden building were brightly lit, with faint human figures visible on the 1st and 2nd floors. The 3rd floor, being too high, revealed nothing clear, but its lights were the brightest. In front of the wooden building, there was a group of children around their early teens, numbering about 2,000, who were practicing punches with their upper bodies bare. Each punch was accompanied by a loud exclamation, their momentum mighty, especially paired with the main building behind them resembling a giant beast, making their presence even more grandiose. Am I mistaken? Those over 100 in the front row, are they all in the logging realm? At this age, at most 11 or 12 years old. What 11 or 12, barely over 10. The shock brought by the main building hadn't subsided yet when the crowd was startled by the young people of Great Xia practicing martial arts in front of the building. Early teens in the logging realm, and not just 1 or 2, but over 100 of them. The people from the beehive wouldn't be ignorant. They too are from a giant camp, and wouldn't have seen much less than from Great Xia. Logging realm in early teens, the beehive also has them. But over 100 appearing at the same time. Gulp. Seeing the expressions of awe and disbelief in the group, Xiang Liang looked at the youngsters in front of the main building, especially Liu Peng, Lu Dong, and Zhao Yuanwu, flickering complex emotions in his eyes. There was envy, there was jealousy, but more so, a sense of powerlessness. Although he hadn't yet been to the martial arts academy, he was familiar with affairs inside it. All three of these individuals had broken records of the logging realm breakthroughs. Liu Peng at 11 years old, Lu Dong at 10 years and 10 months, Zhao Yuanwu at 10 years and 9 months. If Xiang Liang remembered correctly, Zhao Yuanwu's record had been kept until last November when it was finally broken by his cousin Zhao Yuannu at 10 years and 6 months. It has been 4 months since he last went to the martial arts academy, so he was uncertain if Zhao Yuannu remained the current record holder. Chapter 611, Chapter 259, Mission Helplessness Ongoing Screening /3. In other words, Liu Peng in front of us is only 12 years old this year, while Lu Dong and Zhao Yuanwu are only 11. Considering the age gap between himself and the three of them, Xiang Liang naturally feels a deep sense of powerlessness. He's almost 17, with a basic strength of 5,900, while these three, who are 4 to 5 years younger than him, also have a basic strength of over 5,000. Comparing oneself to others can be really maddening. Xiang Liang shook his head slightly, swiftly leading everyone around those youths, and then arrived beneath the main building. Looking at the four-legged square tripod beneath the main building, Xiang Liang was momentarily stunned and instinctively raised his head to look at the grand hall on the top floor of the main building. 4 months ago, he went to the top floor's grand hall for presenting a treasure. Although he saw a three-legged round tripod at the time, he could clearly sense that the larger four-legged square tripod in front of him should be the same object he saw then, just changed in form for some unknown reason. This square tripod should be placed in the grand hall on the top floor. Why is it here? Everyone come over in turn and touch the holy tripod. After touching it, leave from the other end. No one should be missed. Begin. The order Xiang Liang received tonight was to bring his team in front of the inner city main building. Initially, he thought it was just his team, but later found out it was the entire beehive, more than 10,000 people, who had to come over. He thought it was to motivate these newcomers and officially announce their joining of the Great Xia. But upon hearing the command from that captain of the camp's supply department, he realized it wasn't what he thought. Touching the holy tripod, what does that mean? Xiang Liang couldn't help but murmur inwardly, but thinking of his task, he obediently arranged personnel to start touching the holy tripod one after another. After a team of more than 500 people, including himself, had all touched the holy tripod, Xiang Liang realized it wasn't just the more than 10,000 people from Beehive. Everyone from both the inner city and outer city of the Great Xia had come. Everyone lined up on the main street to touch the holy tripod in turn, then left through the side passage. What is going on? I don't know either. It was notified by Lord Chief. Touching the holy tripod, could it be a blessing? Possibly the leader just returned, must be his idea. Then there's nothing more to say. I've always wanted to see the holy tripod, and now I finally get my hands on it. I must feel it well. Ha, indeed, the holy tripod is usually placed on the top floor. We couldn't even see it usually. We must seize the opportunity today. With Xia Hong's current prestige, whatever he says, the entire camp would almost unquestionably follow, not to mention that the cold ruins tripod already holds a supremely exalted position in the minds of the great Xia people. Liu Peng deliberately turned this selection into something resembling a religious ritual, clearly targeting this new portion from Beehive, making them initially worship the cold ruins tripod, so that any future supernatural occurrences would be more readily accepted. At the same time, they would show greater reverence, even fanaticism, towards the cold ruins tripod and the leader Xia Hong. Just touching it is not too cumbersome, and there is always someone maintaining order, thus the efficiency is high. Yet with over 50,000 people in the camp, this selection lasted well into the early hours of the morning. You lead the team directly to the outer city gate. I will put the cold ruins tripod there. The batch from Mirror Valley should be arriving, and for the following days, everyone from Mirror Valley must touch the cold ruins tripod before entering the city. In the alchemy workshop, Xia Hong was listening to Cheng Feng speak. Sensing the screening work over at the main building had finished, he immediately interrupted Cheng Feng to first give Liu Peng an order. Yes, leader, I'll go right now. With about 5,000 people arriving in one night, around 50,000 more are expected, requiring at least 10 nights, so they can relocate everything by the 9th of May. After calculating, Xia Hong instantly turned to look at Cheng Feng and said, "Continue with what you were saying. How many formulas have been synthesized during this period? Bring all the Dan medicine for me to see." Cheng Feng immediately took out 4 porcelain bottles from his chest. his expression excited as he spoke. "Leader, please take a look." Chapter 612, Chapter 260, Medicine Workshop Upgrade, Population Surge and Resource Easing. "Are these bottles made of porcelain?" Xia Hong didn't look at the elixirs immediately but focused on the 4 bottles used to hold them. Each bottle was only fist-sized and came in 4 colors: green, blue, yellow, and red. Their surfaces were shiny and adorned with exquisite beast-shaped patterns, immediately making him think of porcelain. Cheng Feng was startled for a moment and said, "Porcelain? I'm not sure. This is a new material developed by the craftsman department last month. I heard it's made from kale and transported from over in Huayuan. It looks quite stunning and has become very popular among the women in the camp recently. Due to limited raw materials, the output is low, and the price in the camp's supply department is not cheap. Just this small bottle for holding elixirs costs 400 contribution value points, and it's not even guaranteed you can get one. Indeed, fired from kaolin, it's truly porcelain." Xia Hong took the bottle, and a look of amazement immediately rose in his eyes. He had been away for only a bit over 4 months, yet the camp had managed to produce porcelain. It's not that porcelain is so precious, but crucially, it can serve as a carrier and symbol of civilization, and also marks that within Great Xia, there's no longer a sole focus on food and clothing. A small portion of spiritual needs has already emerged. This is probably the first genuine luxury item in Great Xia. Xia Hong quipped silently to himself, then opened the 4 porcelain bottles, from which an exotic fragrance immediately wafted into his nose, and his eyes lit up upon seeing 4 different elixirs. Seeing Xia Hong open the porcelain bottles, Cheng Feng immediately followed up with introducing the elixirs. "The leader gave me 11 types of herbs during the day, which should all be very precious. It amazingly resulted in 13 elixir formulas. The 4 porcelain bottles contain the most useful 4 types, namely Sun Resistance Pill, Beast Spirit Pill, Blood Essence Pill, and the most precious, Yangyuan Pill. 11 types of herbs, yet synthesized into 13 formulas. It was evidently due to the various herbs previously recorded by the alchemy workshop, interacting with these 11 herbs that resulted in so many types, proving that the 11 herbs brought back this time could each serve as a main herb in a formula, which explains why Cheng Feng said these herbs were very precious." As Cheng Feng continued with the introduction, Xia Hong became increasingly excited. The Sun Resistance Pill, primarily composed of Zhu Yinhua, grants anyone who consumes it the temporary ability to act under sunlight, for 1 hour in the logging realm and over 2 hours in the earth-digging realm. The Beast Spirit Pill, mainly composed of red sun fruit, linglong fruit, and intermediate beast meat, enhances the earth's ability to absorb beast meat, considered an upgrade to the Beast Essence Pill, with an effect 10 times stronger, a holy item for cultivation in the earth-digging realm. The Blood Essence Pill, primarily composed of double-colored liquid spirit fruit, pangxiang leaf, and intermediate beast blood, enhances the earth-digging realm limits absorption efficiency of beast blood for reshaping skin. Finally, the Yangyuan Pill. When it came to the last elixir, Cheng Feng paused before continuing. "Earlier, I requested 3 pounds of jade bone from the leader just to refine this elixir. Its formula is the most complex, not only encompassing the 11 herbs the leader gave me, but also incorporating 7 relatively precious herbs we have in the alchemy workshop. Combined with 3 pounds of jade bone, only then could a furnace be refined, producing approximately 9 finished pills all here. Unexpectedly, it should be the spirit pill for cultivation at cold resistance level the leader mentioned." Xia Hong carefully poured the elixir from the last red porcelain bottle, inhaling the exotic fragrance it emitted, and a look of intoxication appeared in his eyes. The Yangyuan Pill was fiery red with traces of black veining, resembling being encased in magma, and felt hot to the touch. Without the strength of a cold resistance level skin membrane, contact could potentially cause burns. The only flaw of the Yangyuan Pill is that its refinement demands a substantial amount of coal stone. I used 50,000 pounds yesterday altogether. 50,000 pounds, nothing. Normally, when simmering jade bone medicine requires 70,000 pounds to 1 pound of jade bone. Refining a furnace of Yangyuan pills with 50,000 pounds of coal stone is extraordinarily economical. Gulp. Without hesitation, Xia Hong swallowed the pill in his hand and, right in front of Cheng Feng, closed his eyes to begin experiencing the medicinal power of the Yangyuan Pill. His skin began to sound with vibrations as the blood and flesh beneath were being torn and rearranged by the medicinal power, powerful enough not to be completely absorbed, and even kept penetrating through the skin membrane outward. Increasing amazement filled Xia Hong's eyes, with his face gradually manifesting sheer delight. Triple no, nearly quadruple. The medicinal power of a single Yangyuan pill is at least 4 times that of a pound of Jade bone medicine, nothing short of miraculous. The herbs Cheng Feng used for refining the elixirs were all sourced from Xia Hong, so Xia Hong was well aware that refining a furnace of Yangyuan pills consumed only materials equivalent to 3 pounds of Jade bone medicine. What does this mean? Using the materials for simmering 3 pounds of Jade bone medicine at the Great Xia Alchemy Workshop can produce 9 Yangyuan pills, with a single Yangyuan pill's medicinal power being 3 to 4 times that of Jade bone medicine. Not only does the medicinal power have 3 to 4 times the impact, but the absorption efficiency of flesh is far superior to directly simmered Jade bone medicine. If Yangyuan pills are continuously refined henceforth, the cultivation efficiency at cold resistance level in Great Xia will exceed that of all other camps. In a state of sheer joy, Xia Hong looked down at the other 3 pills, his expression becoming increasingly fervent. Beast Spirit Pill, Blood Essence Pill, Yangyuan Pill, and Beast Essence Pill, all elixirs for cultivation from logging realm to cold resistance level. Great Xia has them all. As long as the production of these elixirs can be guaranteed, the cultivation speed through these 4 stages in Great Xia will surpass most other camps. Chapter 613, Chapter 260, Medicine Workshop Upgrade, Population Surge, and Resource Easing. The Sun Resistance Pill is not simple either. It can allow the earth-digging realm to appear under the sun. On a smaller scale, for individuals, this is a life-saving item at critical moments. On a larger scale, for the camp, as long as there are enough sun resistance pills, it can instantly change the battlefield situation. The only consideration now is the issue of medicinal material sources. These 11 kinds of medicinal materials all come from Longyu, and currently, none are acquired by Great Xia itself. Xia Hong's brows slightly furrowed, then he spoke to Cheng Feng to give an order. Inform the people in the alchemy workshop to halt their current tasks. Cheng Feng was puzzled upon hearing this, but he immediately ordered everyone to stop what they were doing. There are quite a few pharmacists in Great Xia, as many as over 60. Everyone stopped and looked back at Xia Hong with faces full of confusion. Xia Hong's mind slightly moved, and the system's resource panel instantaneously reduced by 200,000 wood, 200,000 coal, and 400,000 iron. Meanwhile, within the alchemy workshop, 20 furnaces and that dark green circular cauldron in the center erupted with a burst of strong light. Seeing this scene, Cheng Feng and the others clearly realized something, and their expressions became excited. Over 10 breaths later, the strong light dissipated. An incredibly astonishing change had already taken place within the alchemy workshop. Firstly, the alchemy workshop's area had expanded to twice its original size, with a small square 10-meter space added at the back, the purpose of which was unknown. Secondly, the 20 alchemy furnaces had also grown noticeably larger, and the space for storing fuel beneath them had doubled in size. Lastly, the green cauldron in the center hadn't changed in size, but it had acquired a circle of ancient cloud patterns and emitted fluorescence, with occasional whiffs of peculiar medicinal scent wafting out. Alchemy Workshop, Level 3. Alchemy equipment, any item can be input, attributes can be identified, items with pharmaceutical properties will be automatically recorded. Special Function 1. Can automatically generate formulas based on recorded varieties and input materials into the cauldron according to the formula, add water and burn, resulting in automatic pill formation. Special Function 2. The medicine furnace can be used to determine medicinal properties and organize pill formulas. Special Function 3. Using the medicine furnace for alchemy can increase the pill-making rate for pharmacists by 30%. Special Function 4. Comes with a 10-meter medicine field, which can be cultivated into spiritual medicine using coal. Consumption. Burning per hour coal 1000. Identification feature will consume varying amounts of coal stone depending on the item's preciousness. The medicine field consumes 200 day. Upgrade conditions. Wood 1 million coal 1 million iron 5 million silver 10,000 synthesis, formulas 100 types. 3 more special functions have been added, the second and third plainly heading towards the path of nurturing pharmacists. With these medicine furnaces, Great Xia should soon develop its own pharmacists. The fourth is even more exciting, a medicine field. Great Xia can cultivate spiritual medicine itself, with a daily consumption of 200 points, which is 4,000 pounds of coal a day. Although this consumption is terrifying, if it can continuously generate spiritual medicine for the camp, it is worth it. In fact, the camp's supply of coal has been consistently overflowed. Seeing the first 4 special functions, Xia Hong was initially very excited, but upon seeing the final upgrade conditions, his face instantly fell. These upgrade conditions are becoming more and more stringent. Wood, coal, and iron are actually manageable, mainly the latter two. It's hard to come up with 100 synthesis formulas. Even with the newly generated 13 formulas, Great Xia only possesses a total of 44 types, still short by 56 types. The later these formulas get, the harder they are to combine. Silver goes without saying, 10,000 points, equivalent to 50,000 pounds of silver. This exceeds the silver resources required for other building upgrades combined. Before finding the silver mine, apart from the black soil wall and yellow earth, the other 7 buildings were out of the question. Now it truly dashed Xia Hong's thoughts of upgrading buildings. After informing Cheng Feng of the upgraded alchemy workshop functions, Xia Hong pondered for a moment before continuing to instruct. I'll have someone send over a batch of medicinal materials and jade bone later. You prioritize refining Yangyuan pill. Then with remaining materials refine blood essence pill and beast spirit pill. Refine as many as you can. Also, research the use of the medicine field. As you command. Cheng Feng's expression was full of excitement. He soon led others to examine the medicine field. Speaking of which, the 4 workshops for alchemy, forging, summerware, and woodworking all fall under the jurisdiction of the craftsman department. But Cheng Feng's harvesting department frequently uses the alchemy workshop, which is why he took over its management, alleviating Mu Dong, the craftsman department director, to some extent. Xia Hong returned to the main building, quickly sorting out a large batch of jade bone, cold apple jade dew, and other 10 kinds of precious medicinal materials, then called for them to be sent to the alchemy workshop. Fortunately, Xia Chuan makes ambitious requests. The batch of medicinal materials sent by Long Mountain and Jieyang is enough to produce 180 pounds of jade bone medicine. An estimate around 60 furnaces of Yangyuan pill can be refined. It should yield 540 pills. Definitely enough for me to cultivate to the peak of cold resistance level, even breakthrough to Xianyang level. This resolves the cultivation issue at cold resistance level. Xia Hong's eyes slightly moved. Cold resistance level cultivation is of prime importance to himself and others in the camp, and having this matter resolved successfully now allows him to focus on the camp's development. Screening work continues. Simultaneously ongoing is the Great Migration of Longyu. Each night, around 5,000 newcomers arrive from Mirror Valley. 2 or 3 accidental cold beast invasions occurred in the middle, but fortunately, their scale wasn't large, and they all passed without any dangerous incidents, with minimal casualty. Chapter 614, Chapter 260, Medicine Workshop Upgrade, Population Surge and Resource Easing. From April 29 to May 9, the massive population migration finally ended, with a total of over 49,000 people coming in afterward. By the morning of May 10, when Xia Hong once again checked the system panel, the population of the camp had officially surpassed the 100,000 mark. Territory population, 102,942. In the main hall on the top floor of the main building, Xia Hong sat alone on the high platform, looking at the population data of the camp, with a sudden trace of reminiscence in his eyes. The 9 towns of Mo Mountain, merely in terms of population size, Great Xia should not be far behind them, just wondering how much inferior in strength. He recalled Yang Ning and Li Hu, those 2 favored sons of heaven from Beishuo. A trace of disdain rose in Xia Hong's eyes. The favored sons of heaven he spoke of were more of a mockery. Even 3 years ago, he never regarded those 2 highly, let alone now. What he was truly interested in was Beishuo and the other 8 towns of Mo Mountain. What flourishing scenes would these 9 town-level camps, each with a population surpassing 100,000, present. How magnificent is the Mo Mountain range that Yang Ning mentioned to Luo Ming and others. The 5 types of deceitful monsters, craftsman, nightmare, fierce, divine, and demon, what are they like respectively? And that leader named Yang Zhun whom Luo Ming talked about, arrogant as Yang and Li, would show respect and fanaticism each time they mentioned him, also demanding everyone add the prefix of Great Lord. To what extent is Yang Zhen's strength powerful? These many perplexities, previously limited by strength, Xia Hong kept them buried deep in his heart. Now as his own strength grew stronger and the scale of Great Xia expanded, they naturally resurfaced. Xia Hong stood up and turned to look at the full map of Great Xia's territory. We cannot lose track of the essentials. First stabilize the rear, then focus on unraveling the mysteries. The current focus of expansion should still be on Longyu. Yanglu is a dead end. Once taking the beehive, Great Xia basically controls the eastern and northern entrances of Redwood Ridge. Redwood Ridge stretches south to Xing River, where it's practically confirmed that there are no human camps. The west side likely borders Long Mountain with no entrances, which also means Xia Hong drew a large circle on the map, enclosing the entire Redwood Ridge, and continued. The entire Redwood Ridge now belongs to Great Xia. Next is to survey and quickly convert the resources of Redwood Ridge into strength. Thinking of this, inevitable heroic spirit rose in Xia Hong's eyes. By now, Xia Hong had already had a rough outline of the environment Great Xia was in. Previously, influenced by Luo Ming, his concept was that only after crossing the Arrow Bamboo Forest to the north would it be considered the territory of Flimsy Plain. Now it seems that the entire west of Twin Dragon Mountain should all be at one elevation. So the Twin Dragon Valley where Great Xia is located, and further west to Redwood Ridge, should all be considered the territory of Flimsy Plain. From the perspectives of cold beasts, vegetation, herbs, and minerals, there are only 3 resource areas within the Flimsy Plain, ranked from small to large in order: Arrow Bamboo Forest, Redwood Ridge, Long Mountain. Now the regions of Redwood Ridge and Arrow Bamboo Forest belong to Great Xia. For the largest resource area, Long Mountain, Great Xia also controls the Wushuang and Hankyang entrances and can share a piece of the pie. From a resource perspective alone, taking Longyu is just a matter of time. Zhejiang and Long Mountain have no chance of turning the tables. From a long-term perspective, resources equate to strength without dispute. Moreover, in terms of the efficiency of converting resources into strength, Great Xia surpasses other camps. Although both Long Mountain and Zhejiang are currently stronger than Great Xia, Xia Hong is confident that this situation will soon be reversed. Furthermore, this reversal will be faster than imagined. Step, step, step. A series of footsteps approached from behind, interrupting Xia Hong's thoughts. Then Qiu Peng's voice sounded. Reporting to the leader, the screening of all camp members has been completed, and the last batch all moved into the camp tonight. In this Longyu operation, a total of 65,924 ordinary people from the 3 families were arranged to live in temporary large wooden houses in the outer city. The camp supply department has registered all their household entries. Out of the 3 families, 8,721 people stayed in Longyu. 1,388 Earth-Digging Realm members have been split into 2 parts, cooperating with us in garrisoning Wushuang and Hankyang, and the remaining 6,333 Logging Realm members mostly stayed in the Beehive, with a few transferred to Wushuang and Hankyang to oversee logistics. Xia Hong looked slightly invigorated, knowing that the 60,000-plus people prioritized to move from Longyu were all those who hadn't broken through to the Logging Realm, leaving over 8,000 Logging and Earth-Digging Realm members in Longyu. He was aware of this situation. So technically speaking, Great Xia's current population should have broken through 110,000. Qiu Peng's report wasn't finished yet. He continued. Our own Earth-Digging Realm members are also home, a total of 1,800 people, including 20 intermediate hunting teams with 1,000 people, and the remaining 40 low-level hunting teams with 800 people. This time, all 32 intermediate hunting teams of the camp were transferred to Longyu. Apparently, Xia Chuan considered the garrison at Wushuang and Hankyang, so left 12 elite intermediate teams. Xia Hong nodded slightly and asked, "Is that all? Who else has returned?" Qiu Peng nodded and said, "I heard from those who arrived first. The minister might be planning to personally oversee Longyu. Yuan Dao, Yuan Cheng, Luo Yuan, Meng Yizhu Yuan, Lin Kai, Lu Yang, Huang Yang, Hong Gang, Peng Bo, Chen Yingyuan, a total of 11 people, are currently in Mirror Valley and should be returning soon." Excluding himself, counting Peng Bo, Chen Yingyuan, Chen Yingba, and Wu Tianxing, the current cold resistance level members of Great Xia should be 23. Zhu Ling and Qiu Peng are in Xia City, Yue Feng is in Mirror Valley, Su Ning is in Huayuan. Han Guang, Han Tian, Zhao Hu, Zhao Bao were sent by him to guard Hankyang. Xia Chuan should be independently leading Zhao Long, Chen Yingba, Wu Tangxing to guard Wushuang. That means there are a total of 8 cold resistance level members currently in Longyu. The 8 cold resistance levels left in Longyu should be sufficient for now. The minister had someone convey that the 3 strongholds in Longyu have all started normal hunting life. Once the straight roads between Mirror Valley and Beehive are completed, resources from Longyu can be transported to Xia City. Xia Hong nodded, with people from the Beehive being able to head south into Redwood Ridge for hunting and logging, and spurs of Long Mountain in Hankyang and Wushuang. In the absence of warfare in Longyu, all 3 strongholds can carry on normal life. Since the members from the hunting department have returned, let's prepare to lower the beast meat price back down. The cultivation qualifications at the Martial Arts Academy remain unchanged. For now, prioritize providing those about to break through to the earth-digging realm, and there's another task I need you to arrange. With so many hunting teams back, the beast meat supply naturally won't be an issue, and resources should be slightly relaxed. 5 points of contribution, value per pound of beast meat, aren't friendly for the 60,000 plus people who joined the camp recently. Hearing that Xia Hong wanted to lower the beast meat price, Qiu Peng evidently hesitated but still patiently listened to the end of Xia Hong's words, before speaking with a hint of hesitation. Leader, coincidentally, I also have a suggestion I'd like to propose. Chapter 615, Chapter 261, Peng and Chen's Shock, the Great Xia Martial Tournament. Second year of Great Xia, May 9th. The last half hour before dawn. Yuan Dao, Yuan Cheng, Luo Yuan, and other 10 cold resistance level members, along with 1,800 hunting team members who were transferred to Longyu half a month ago, all successfully returned home. As dawn approached, it was time to sleep, but the gradually quieting inner city became lively in an instant due to the return of these 1,800 people. The 1,800 hunting team members, clad in iron armor, entered through the inner city's iron gates, and upon hearing the dismissal orders from their respective captains, hurriedly made their way home. Honey, you're back. Dad, I'm here. Big brother is back, Dad, big brother is back. Little brother, come in quickly. Honey, quickly take off your armor, I'll go make some food. Amidst the joyful voices, hundreds and thousands of houses in the inner valley quickly lit up with coal lamps and bonfires. Those who returned from the earth-digging realm in Longyu, upon seeing their families waiting at the door, all showed beaming smiles on their faces, as if the wind and fatigue on their faces vanished in an instant. On the main street of the inner city, Yuan Dao, leading 8 cold resistance level members, was heading towards the main building. They still needed to report to the leader and naturally couldn't go home directly like the other earth-digging realm members. No wonder these earth-digging realm members are husbands, fathers, or brothers. They're essentially the backbone of their families. Going out for such a long time, it's inevitable that family members staying back at the camp would worry. Luo Yuan's words resonated with the others. I received the minister's notice on the 16th to go to Longyu. My wife was so chatterbox as I left, afraid something might happen to me. In the past, our hunts were only a few hours long and we would always be back before dawn. Even when stationed at Mirror Valley or Huayuan, we could come back every few days. This time going to Longyu was different. The first batch went on the 20th of last month. It's been almost 20 days now, the first time leaving the camp for so long. It's certainly different. To be honest, being out for so many days did make me miss home a bit. Same here, my son just turned 3, I want to go back and see him. Hearing the words of Han Gang and Huang Yang, Luo Yuan chuckled softly, then noticed Yuan Dao at the front, looked around the group, thought of something, and teasingly said, "You all have wives and children around a warm fire, but among us here, 3 are still unmarried." Everyone was stupefied upon hearing this, and then all eyes gathered on Yuan Dao, Lin Kai, and Lu Yang. Right, I almost forgot, even our Lord Chief hasn't married. Lu Yang too, I heard many people have tried to matchmake for you. Are your standards too high? Lin Kai, I heard your sister brought several batches of girls home to set you up, yet you didn't fancy any of them. Speaking of which, Yuan Dao, the director of the hunting department, although strong in capability, is the youngest among the 9, only 18 years old. Lu Yang and Lin Kai are only about 21 or 22. These 3 are quite skillful in battlefields or hunts, but their young age is apparent. Being teased like this by the six who are already married, their faces showed some embarrassment as they unconsciously quickened their steps towards the main building. Seeing the embarrassment of the three, everyone got even more enthusiastic, teasing them from behind. Ha ha ha, what kind of girl does the Lord Chief like? I'll introduce you. You don't need to introduce. If the Lord Chief expresses a desire to marry, his doorstep would probably be worn out immediately. Lin Kai Lu Yang, I have two nieces with good looks and personalities. I'll arrange for you to meet them someday, how about it? Two nieces for each of you, old Huang, you're thinking too beautifully. Lin Kai, don't be fooled looking at old Huang, could his family possibly have pretty nieces? My niece Hong Xiaojun, now she's beautiful with a high cultivation talent. I'll introduce you. Old Hong, you're the one who looks like a bear. Hadiadohata. Yuan Sejeng, check out my daughter, she's beautiful. My daughter is chubby, that means good fortune, more suitable for the director. All right, we're here, say no more, come with me to meet the leader. Seeing the teasing voices growing louder, even attracting teasing from the residents on both sides of the road, Yuan Dao, with a black line on his forehead, directly interrupted everyone. The group looked up and indeed found they were close to the main building, so they immediately restrained themselves a bit and followed Yuan Dao upstairs, preparing to meet Xia Hong in the main hall. As soon as they reached the third floor, they bumped into Qiu Peng coming out of the main hall. You're all back. Qiu Peng first smiled and greeted everyone, then noticed there were only 9 returning and immediately asked curiously, where are Peng Bo and Chen Yingyuan? Yuan Dao replied, those two were eager to see their families, so I let them stay in the outer city. They should come in shortly. Chen Yingyuan and Peng Bo's families had arrived in Xia City more than 10 days ago. Considering the major changes their families had encountered, worrying about their families was quite normal, so Qiu Peng didn't continue to inquire further. The leader is waiting for you inside, go on in. He seemed a bit urgent, and after speaking to Yuan Dao and others, hurried downstairs. Though curious about why Qiu Peng was anxious, Yuan Dao and the others remembered that Xia Hong was waiting for them inside, so they went straight into the main hall. As Yuan Dao and the other 9 were entering the main hall to see Xia Hong. Chapter 616, Chapter 261, The Shock of Peng Bo and Chen Yingyuan, Great Xia's Martial Gathering, Part 2. The outer city's Peng Bo and Chen Yingyuan also met their respective families. In room No. 1 of the temporary large wooden house closest to the inner city iron gate, at the top floor. 7-year-olds Liu Ming and Qin Feng, seeing Peng Bo again after half a month, couldn't help but cry tears of joy as they rushed directly into his arms. Granduncle, you're finally back. Peng Bo picked up the 2 children, his expression also somewhat moved. Both of his sworn brothers, Qin Gu and Liu He, had their families wiped out, leaving only these 2 children. No matter what, he had to raise these 2 kids and help his brothers continue their bloodlines. Where is Xiao Zhu? Before the children could answer, a middle-aged woman came out from the bedroom behind them, holding a baby in her arms. If it wasn't his grandson Peng Zhu, who else could it be? Greetings, Lord Peng Bo. I'm Zhu Mei, arranged by the camp supply department to take care of the 3 young masters. The woman first handed the baby in her arms to Peng Bo, then bowed in respect. Granduncle, Aunt Mei treats us very well. It has been her taking care of us and Xiao Zhu during this period. Peng Bo didn't pay attention to the 2 grandsons' words. His focus was entirely on his grandson Peng Zhu in his arms. After a while, he turned to look at Liu Ming and Qin Feng, a hint of surprise arising in his eyes. Your basic strength. Oh, I almost forgot. Grandpa, our basic strength is now 1,500. How's that? Impressive, right? Before Peng Bo could finish speaking, Liu Ming interrupted him. Even the usually calm Qin Feng couldn't help but jump in now, saying excitedly, during these past 2 weeks, Aunt Mei gave us lots of good stuff like beast essence pills, salt, Chen Xiang fruit preserves. Aunt Mei is such a great cook. The beast meat she makes is especially delicious. And there's the beast fruit milk she brought, something I've never seen before. Xiao Zhu stopped crying as soon as he drank it, and his body kept improving. He wasn't afraid of the cold during the days anymore. Hearing his grandson speak endlessly about Zhu Mei's kindness, Peng Bo couldn't stop smiling and nodding. But when he looked at Zhu Mei, his gaze remained indifferent. A dignified cold resistance level expert like himself joining the great Xia, having his 3 grandsons receive special treatment was only normal. You could tell from where his grandsons were living. This temporary large wooden house only had 2 floors. At least 500 people were crowded on the ground floor, whereas his 3 grandsons lived in this separate room on the second floor. In Peng Bo's view, this woman named Zhu Mei was clearly deliberately sent by the higher-ups of Great Xia. The reason she treated his grandsons nicely was ultimately to win him over. This Zhu Mei was most likely assigned to serve him. Peng Bo, after all, was a leader of Yang Lu, long accustomed to high positions. A servant, he naturally wouldn't show any kindness. But what Zhu Mei said next made him immediately realize how terribly wrong he was. Now that Lord Peng has returned, it's time for me to take my leave. Though Zhu Mei addressed him as Lord, her tone was calm without any sign of subservience. She continued, "These 3 children must have suffered a lot outside. They had injuries and a lot of cold energy within their bodies when they came over. I traded some hot wind pills from the camp supply department, and after they ate them, they got a bit better. But more recuperation is needed, and the beast meat and hot wind pills should not be stopped. That baby hasn't had breast milk for a long time, likely only fed with fruit juice before, leaving him very weak. Lord Peng should find time to trade for some beast fruit milk at the camp supply department, continue feeding him, and his health will improve greatly." Zhu Mei instructed plenty in one breath, before looking down at Liu Ming and Qin Feng with a gentle smile, saying, "Xiao Ming, Xiao Feng, you must listen to your grandpa in the future. Aunt Mei has a child your age at home, named Huang Tianxi. When he comes to the inner city later, I'll have him make friends with you, okay?" "Okay, Aunt Mei." Liu Ming and Qin Feng agreed eagerly, watching Zhu Mei leave with reluctance all over their faces. Just like that, she left. Peng Bo stood there, full of bewilderment. Zhu Mei wasn't the servant arranged for him by Great Xia. During his days in Longyu, Peng Bo wasn't entirely clueless about Great Xia. Minister Xia Chuan, the 6 ministries of Great Xia, the camp supply station, Dan medicine, clothing, contribution value, and rules for prisoners. He had heard all about these aspects of Great Xia from people like Luo Yuan. Even back in Longyu, he already had a dedicated record of contribution values. If he remembered correctly, he was rewarded with contribution values twice by Xia Chuan for pursuing Wuxiang and going to Hankyang to rescue Xia Hong, totaling about 800 points. Coming to Xia City tonight and seeing the sprawling black city walls, the great Xia people's colorful attire and various tools, and their detached houses, Peng Bo admitted when he saw the vibrant and prosperous scene before him, his heart indeed stirred. Yet, regardless of these inner stirrings, he was well aware that with his cultivation strength, he was bound to hold a high position in Great Xia, and likewise, his 3 grandsons would naturally enjoy special treatment easily. But now he realized it might not be as expected. "Grandpa, Great Xia is really nice. Every day someone comes to the wooden house to distribute free beast meat to all of us. It's Aunt Mei who exchanged extra because of our poor health. She not only cares for us but many orphans in this building. Sometimes, when she cooks something good, she calls many to join in eating." Chapter 617. Chapter 261. The Shock of Peng Bo and Chen Yingyuan, Great Xia Martial Gathering, Part 3. Liu Ming might simply think that his grandfather is not too enthusiastic about Zhu Mei. However, the usually quiet Qin Feng seems to have picked up on what Peng Bo is contemplating and slowly speaks. "Grandfather, Aunt Mei doesn't give us special treatment. I went out to play a few nights ago. There are over 60 temporary large wooden houses in the outer city, and I heard each wooden house has someone like Aunt Mei, specifically responsible for taking care of children like us who are not supervised by adults. For those over 6 years old who have not broken through the logging realm, they are considered reserves and have a daily allowance of 1 to 2 pounds of free beast meat. Once you break through the logging realm, your contribution value is recorded. Everything in the camp, such as clothing, food, and shelter, has to be exchanged with contribution value. Everyone in Great Xia is treated equally except the leader Xia Hong. Anyone who breaks through to the earth-digging realm must register with the hunting department, either by forming or joining a hunting team. There are minimum monthly submission quotas for beast meat, iron ore, and coal stone, and this is the same for everyone." As Liu Ming and Qin Feng recount their experiences over the past 15 days in detail, Peng Bo gains a more comprehensive understanding of Great Xia. The astonishment in his eyes grows deeper, accompanied by an inexplicable glimmer. Back in Longyu, upon hearing Luo Yuan and others describe Great Xia, Peng Bo had already realized that Great Xia, whether in terms of resources or policies, seemed clearly superior to Yanglu Camp. However, at the time, He was somewhat skeptical, thinking Luo Yuan and others must have exaggerated in order to gain his wholehearted allegiance to Great Xia. But now, having heard all this, it seems that's not the case. The words of children are often more believable than those of adults, particularly from Liu Ming and Qin Feng, whom he watched grow up. What they say is certainly more credible than others. Wait here, I'll go check out the inner city and meet the leader. Eventually, Peng Bo interrupts his two grandsons' story. He decides to see for himself if the camp supply department, one of the 6 ministries, truly has an inexhaustible supply of beast meat, beast skins, iron ore, coal stone. Are the living conditions in the inner city really that much better than those in the outer city? And all those Dan medicines, weapons, as well as the artifact refining workshop and alchemy workshop, and that mysterious martial arts academy that enhances cultivation efficiency, which Luo Yuan previously praised. Peng Bo entrusts his grandson Peng Zhu to Liu Ming and Qin Feng's care and walks straight out of the room, leaving the wooden house and heading directly toward the imposing iron gate of the inner city. By chance, a familiar figure approaches from the other side. Peng Head, brother, are you also going to check out the inner city? Peng Bo looks up, seeing Chen Yingyuan's face filled with evident curiosity and astonishment, and immediately guesses that his purpose aligns with his own. Chen Yingyuan must have listened to similar stories from his family. Let's go, let's see together if Great Xia is really that good. Chen Yingyuan nods and walks side by side with Peng Bo into the inner city. Did you hear? The price of beast meat has been lowered, now 1 contribution point for 1 pound, and if there are no major changes, the price will not change again. That's good. I thought 1 point for 2 pounds was too cheap. Those newcomers at the logging realm can just rely on chopping and gathering to exchange 7 or 8 pounds a night. Our leader is just too kind. For those over 6 years old who haven't broken through to the logging realm, they're treated as reserves and given beast meat daily. How can the camp sustain this? Every time my husband goes out hunting, it's so dangerous. Isn't my husband the same? Their hunting team is seeking to advance to the intermediate level recently, and every time he comes back with injuries, it's terrifying to see. Congratulations, an intermediate team means your family will live comfortably in the future. It's nighttime, and the main street of the inner city is bustling with people. Conversations are heard from the houses along the street, mostly from women and children. These voices do not escape the ears of Chen Yingyuan and Peng Bo. The two deliberately slow their steps, carefully listening to these conversations and observing the houses on either side of the street. From this, they analyze the policies currently implemented by Great Xia and the living conditions of those in the inner city. The more they hear and see, the more shocked they become. They occasionally exchange glances, seeing the astonishment and amazement in each other's eyes. Clothing, food, houses, iron carts everywhere. Forget the earth-digging realm, even the children's toys in the inner city are iron-made. There are even youths just over 10 years old who have achieved the logging realm or even the earth-digging realm. How can there be so many 10-year-olds at the logging realm? That group of kids is at most 16 or 17, and they're all at earth-digging realm. This Great Xia has too many geniuses, doesn't it? Some women even have the cultivation level of the earth-digging realm. The two are too shocked and can't help but discuss this. Peng Bo is the Yanglu leader, while Chen Yingyuan is the leader of Beehive, both having considerable knowledge. They've seen 10-year-olds at the logging realm before, but not in such numbers, which shatters their perception. In Longyu, there are also some 16 or 17-year-olds at the earth-digging realm, but typically, there are only 2 or 3 per family. In Great Xia, they've seen at least a dozen while walking by. What does this imply? Is Great Xia a gathering place for talents? Brother Peng, just think of the Xia Hong and Xia Chuan brothers, Yuan Dao, Yuan Cheng, and those other cold resistance level individuals in Great Xia.